warning, I swear a lot.
Hello friends, and welcome back to Limbus Company, welcome back to Canto 7. We're getting on a bit now. I'm 90% certain the part 3 is just going to be a dungeon. But we'll see. We will see. To continue, in which is discussed the memory necessary to bring to light the clarity of this tale of adventure. Oh, please, please, fill some details for me. Need to know some stuff. And that alone seems to almost confirm that Don Quixote doesn't know she's a blood fiend. So, that's interesting. Isn't it obvious your name is known throughout all the corners of the city due to your big, grand, important, and very well-known adventures that definitely happened? How could they not have heard of you? Surely. Surely. Ooh. Yeah. I mean, Don Quixote does appear to be the only blood fiend who has a purpose beyond, you know, remembering nice stuff from before or trying to get blood. She actually has a goal, a purpose, something that drives her forward, and seemingly no blood fiend here has that. Yeah, I can imagine they're quite upset. A fancy pair of shoes.
Manga.
Oblivion. Yes. That word finally popped up.
이 구역을 떠도는 자들이 간절히 바라고 있었던 것.
Of course, oblivion here having different meanings, right? You could say that one is yearning for oblivion, which is to say, to be dead and gone, or to be completely ignorant of the situation they're in.
욕망에서도 부끄러움에서도 도망칠 수 있는 그 꼴. 망각이 있었다면 하루하루 힘겹게나마 견딜 수 있었을 테죠.
Essentially, they desire to forget what they are and what they need to do in order to live, which is essentially what Don Quixote has done, yes. But the question is how. Obviously, Rocinante is involved, but in what way? We're not doing this again. You're not taking this one away. We are not having a boss rush at the end of this canto. How many can you possibly steal?
이쯤 되면 제가 그리워질 거라 생각했습니다.
I precisely calculated that this amount of time would have passed before you started missing me, so don't worry, here I am.
이제는 슬슬 그 이야기를 들려주시면 좋겠군요.
Yes, please, more tales. I love the tales.
우리들을 버리고 떠난 그 창대한 모험의 결말을.
So is Don Quixote at La Mancha Land specifically? To be honest, I'd kind of expect Ishmael to have already figured out that Don Quixote's a blood fiend because Ishmael is just kind of like that. But at the same time, not unreasonable that she hasn't.
따그닥 따그닥. 당신은 여느 때처럼 힘차고 경쾌하게 로시난테를 타고 내달렸습니다.
I don't know, Gregor didn't sound very enthusiastic. Romero, bruv, I respect it, but there's no way. Yeah, no, don't get me wrong, I do respect it, right? I respect it, I really, really do. But there was no fucking way. But wouldn't that be amazing if one day there was a scene like this and that happens and you're like, buddy, there's no fucking way. And then he does it. And then he actually kills the big bad just by fucking running out of nowhere and knifing him. And it's like, well, I guess the show's over, huh? Someday, I hope for the day.
이렇게 비참하게 죽어가는 자들을 뒤로 한 채.
Barely even acknowledges him. That's fun. She's starting to remember, perhaps?
본인이 움직일 수 없는 것은 그대보다 무력해서겠지.
I don't think he's holding you in place at all. I think you're just paralyzed. With emotion, with fear? I don't know, but something.
그러니 부탁이라도 하겠네. 내 혀를 창끝으로 바꿀 수라도 있다면 그들을 당장이라도 찌르겠지만 그럴 수 없으니
Gotta say, I'm not feeling this pitch. I don't think he's gonna go for it.
치졸하게 구걸이라도 할 테니 악행을 그만두시라는 말이오.
왜 그러시죠? 당신은 모험담을 들려주는 걸 누구보다 간절하게 바라오지 않았습니까?
Is she starting to remember, or is she just really fucking good at pretending she didn't know what they were talking about?
신중하고 주의 깊게 당신의 이야기를 귀담아 들을 관객이 이렇게 앞에 즐비한데요. 어디 이런 기회가 흔하겠어요?
That's true, it's time for a story.
지금은 하고 싶지 않아.
Not now that everyone wants a story, I don't want to. It's too late. I was gonna tell you guys my story ages ago, none of you listened. Now no one gets the story.
아니,
Except you will.
들려줘야죠.
That's unfortunate.
그게 당신의 역할이잖아요.
Oof.
당신은 로시난테와 하얀 달의 기사와 함께 마지막 모험을 떠났습니다. 정확히는 피난이라고 할까요?
Fled from
여기까지 오면서 여러 강을 봤지?
so many rivers.
도시 밑에 이런 강들이 있다니.
Does this possibly lead towards that well where Lobcorp got all of its abnormalities from? I assume that's really fucking far underground though, and you know, in Elnest, but who knows? Well, people do know, but when I say who knows in this context, I mean I have no idea because I have no context.
다양한 강들의 물을 머금은 꽃. 그 꽃이 피어난 나무는 특별한 힘을 지닌다고 해.
Uh-huh.
그 강물로 피어난 나무는 어떤 능력일지 상상도 안 돼.
Are we finally getting to something relating to the Golden Bough?
어떤 강물을 찾는 건가?
여러 강을 찾았지만 아직 우리가 찾는 강은 못 찾았어.
Well, that's lame.
이 강물도 아닌가?
It's not quite the adventure one would hope for, is it? Just wandering around looking at rivers.
맞아. 아쉽지만 여기도 아니야. 더 깊은 곳에 이어진 하나의 강을 찾아야 할지도 모르겠네.
We gotta go underground. We need to Terraria this shit.
한번 가본 곳이라도 유적 깊은 곳은 역시 어렵단 말이지. 너한테도 만만치 않지?
이 강은
Did you find it?
이건 어느 한 미래를 보여주는 강이야. 이 물을 마시면 미래를 볼 수 있게 된다고 하는데 마시면 미래만 보다 미쳐버린다고 해.
Yeah, that's a pretty crap gift.
결국 미쳐버린 미래만 보는 거지.
But there's gotta be a reason why someone would want that, surely.
난 이걸 미래 강이라 불러. 원래 이름이 있었을 수도 있겠지만 난 그렇게 부르고 있어.
When you discover places, you get to name them. It's pretty cool, actually.
아이러니하군.
원하는 순간을 볼 수는 없지만 물에 비친 모습을 들여다보면 어느 한순간의 미래를 볼 수 있어. 난해하긴 해도 한번 들여다볼래?
물을 가까이 하고 싶진 않네만 그러도록 하지.
뭐가 보여?
사슬, 거대한 문, 그리고 저것은 시계인가? 불타는 시계? 그리고 약속.
A flaming timepiece. Chains in the Great Gate, which I assume is harkening to when Dante would do their rewinding shit. I'm trying to remember all of the, like, mental visions, as it were, that Dante's had. There's one of that really nice star, which I believe is what Dante has to focus on in order to rewind the clock. The gate was involved as well. It's been so long, guys. It really has, and I don't remember. But I don't think it's particularly important to know the specifics right now.
자네가 말한 것처럼 봐도 뭐가 무엇인지 모르겠군.
But now you'll spend the rest of your life looking out for a flaming clock.
강물을 마시는 게 아닌 이상 명확한 미래를 알기는 힘들 거야. 그래도 네가 강물에서 본 그 시계 그리고 약속이면 그 사람과 나눈 어느 약속과 관련된 시계일 수 있겠네.
Who's him?
약속의 시계라는 것인가?
각고의 노력 끝에 당신은 원하는 곳에 도착했습니다.
Was it worth it? It seems like you've gotten very little information.
이건 첫 번째 에피소드와 이어지는군요.
Oh.
이곳은
망각의 강.
The River of Oblivion! I forgot about this because I also forgot that we did a big fucking soliloquy about the Fortress of Oblivion. Now I remember. It's a cool fucking place. Ah. She's like, oh shit, this is the thing I'm looking for, goddamn.
하얀 달의 기사가 말했죠.
I know spake is technically a word, but I hate it. I hate the word spake. It doesn't sound right.
정말이야? 이 우물을 마시면 넌 너의 모든 인생을 지워버리게 되는데.
Oh. That's the point, yes?
한 모금이면 모든 게 끝나는 거야.
And that's pretty much what every blood fiend's gonna want, isn't it? It's just like, yep, everything, all of my past, all of it, gone. Don't want none of it. Don't want to keep any of it. I want complete and utter ignorance, naivety, innocence, oblivion. I get it now. Okay.
당신은 침을 꿀꺽 삼켰습니다.
Before the night even begun speaking, you'd already started shoveling bucketfuls of the river water into your mouth. What effect does this have? Who can say?
결정. 네.
He did say that she fled, so did she perhaps come here to drink the water and then went, nope, 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 not doing it? Or was he referring to the fact that she fled from La Manche land or the Blood Fiends in general?
이유를 물어보면 대답해 줄 거야?
We need details.
눈을 감아도 보이는 그날의 함성, 그날의 비비린내, 그날의
What was it?
기억이 기어올라올수록 무너져 내릴 것만 같지.
But the impression I'm getting from this cancel, I suppose, is while the River of Oblivion does not directly, but in essence of what it does, technically erase your memory. There's a little bit more to it than that, obviously, and B, it doesn't seem to, because it doesn't literally erase your memory, it just kind of diverts your brain's attention, as it were, through visions. It's possible to reverse that effect. I don't know. We'll see.
그러니 이 모든 걸 잊고 잠을 청하려 한다네.
Hey, I feel that.
잠을 자는 동안에는 두려움도 희망도 없으며 고생도 없고 영광도 없을 테니.
Who among us truly has not just wanted to fucking sleep for a while?
하지만 잠에는 결점이 하나 있잖아. 그건
There sure is when you're a fucking insomniac.
그래, 죽음과 닮아 있지. 하지만 중요한 것이 다르지 않은가?
That's a good line.
꿈을 꾸고 싶은 거구나.
There it is then. The Don Quixote as we know her is essentially in a dream. And by the end of this canto, the dream will have ended. The Don Quixote we know is because Don Quixote is in a dream. So interesting to see how her personality will be affected when the dream is over.
가진 모든 것을 내려놓고 족쇄가 되어버린 그 말을 위해 보아왔던 꿈을 이어서 꿀 생각이란.
So up to this point, was she kind of playing at being an adventurer, as it were? But drinking from the River of Oblivion will allow her not only to forget everything that's happened, which she definitely wants to do, but it will result in her becoming the Don Quixote we know, in that she fully embraces the mantle of being a hero because she doesn't remember anything other than being that. I'm fascinated. I want to talk about it, and I also want to just get on with it. So, yeah, I'm all over the place on this.
그렇다면
Then
내가 널 도와줄 수 있는 유일한 방법은 이것뿐이겠네.
I feel like you've done a lot, Mr. Knight of the White.
그렇게 말하는 저자의 이름은
Logically speaking, I hope it's Sanson because that'll be a fantastic twist. But I always, and I should tell you guys now that I don't think this seriously. This is always thought of in jest, but I always hope that at some point they're gonna name drop someone fucking ridiculous who shouldn't be there and is from a different game. You know what I mean? Like, something ridiculous. I don't know. Like, the name of this companion was Benjamin, and you're like, what? What? And it's like, there's no way that'd be a thing. The name of this companion was Roland, and it's like, fuck off, that's ridiculous. There's no fucking way. But I wish they'd do something like that. It'd be so fun. I also don't, because it would make no sense and be obvious pandering, you know? Like, I'm not genuinely hoping for it, but I always do find myself idly toying with the idea of, man, what if they just said, hey, look, it's fucking Bina, or something stupid like that. I would love it. As much as it would be, I'd love it in the moment, but then when I had the chance to think about it, I'd hate it because I'd be like, that's pandering and doesn't make sense, you know? Either way, let's let him talk.
마지막으로 곧 잊어버리게 될 내 이름을 다시 한번 소개할게.
Please do.
나는 도시와 유적을 떠돌아다니며 꽃을 찾는 여행을 하던 자.
And an all-round pretty cool guy.
그리고 지금은 너와 평생을 잊지 못한 모험에 종지부를 찍은 자.
What's your fucking name?
하얀 달의 기사 파리.
Ah. Cool. Okay.
나는 이제 늘 그래왔듯 내가 찾던 강과 그 강물을 머금고 핀 꽃을 찾으러 떠날 거야.
The Knight of the White Moon is a dope character.
내가 이 강물을 마시더라도 해결사에 대한 이야기는 들려줄 수 있겠나?
This explains a lot.
여행의 길목에 이곳이 여러 번 겹치게 될지도 몰라. 그렇다면 그때마다 내게 귀띔이 될 만한 책이나 물건들을 조용히 두고 갈게.
Ah.
고맙군.
그렇게 당신은 결국 그 강물을 마시게 됩니다. 하지만 제 아무리 용감한 기사 돈키호테도 불길한 예감에 몸을 떨기 시작하는군요.
Oh.
본인이 용맹한 모험기를 써내려온 본인이 몸을 떨었을 리 없네.
I haven't really been looking at it up to this point, but it's fun how her little title thing says Brave Adventurer, very specifically.
이야기에는 고조차라는 게 있어야 재미가 생기는 법이니까요.
True, true, true. Sanson ignores Don Quixote's struggles and rapidly continues the tale, like he was incanting a spell, probably because he technically is.
흐르는 물이 우리에게 주는 원초적 공포. 온몸에서 소름이 돋아나기 시작하며 의식은 맹렬하게 거부하기 시작합니다.
Oh!
물보다 진한 우리의 피는 빠르게 돌기 시작하고 당신의 심장도 미친 듯이 뛰기 시작합니다.
I hadn't even considered the fear of water. Of course, yes. No, that's totally. Oh, yeah. Way to bring that back. It was so far from my mind, the idea that, yeah, a lot of blood fiends are scared of water. It's been brought up, both in Ruiner and here, more expounded upon here. I didn't even think about that. That did not pop into my head until he basically spelled it out for me. Huh.
그럼에도 불구하고 당신은 극복해야 했죠.
But did she?
강물을 마시기 전 당신은 생각하게 됩니다. 이 모험을 계속하는 것이 더 이상 의미가 없다고.
Oh.
그렇게 로신한테에서 내립니다.
Huh.
원래의 주인에게서 잠시 넘겨받았을 뿐인 로신한테에게서.
Huh. Don Quixote looks down toward Rocinante. At least Faust and I know what Sanson's incantation is attempting to accomplish. He's trying to draw out her memories from the River of Oblivion. Oh, I actually was correct on that, kind of. I didn't know he was... Well, I mean, I assumed he was trying to do that, but I was correct in the sense that that is a thing that can happen. Don Quixote, no, don't. But this time it's actually something serious rather than you, I don't know, punching a gang member in the face. Faust, do something. Whenever in doubt, it's Faust to do something.
방법은 없습니다.
And she actuallys us as always.
이 흐름은 필연입니다.
Yeah, this is just gonna happen.
뭔데 그러는 거야? 너네 되게 심각해.
So what the fuck are you guys talking about?
이때까지 저희가 들은 이야기를 하나로 이으면
Then
설마
is she?
아니 그럴 리는 없는데.
The fuck do you know? You just met her.
시춘, 무언가 알고 있다면 내게도 말해줄래?
Zichun, have you been paying attention? Can you tell me what's happening? It's like they're watching a movie and Hongler's just not paying attention, keeps turning to her and being like, what happened? Wait, who's that? Wait, why are they there? That's their entire sibling relationship.
아마 아닐 거니까 가만히 있어. 어차피
But probably right.
불길한 예감이 맞으면 싫어도 알게 될 테니까.
Well put, yeah.
그렇다면 백장 하나는 칭찬해 줄게. 오빠.
Huh? Don Quixote's spine slowly bends forward. This cannot be stopped. She does not try to stop it either. Don Quixote moves as though she was destined to, as though this was all but her part in the play because of Sansa's spells. For a moment she appears tranquil, even brave, like a knight briefly dismounting from a beloved steed. Yet once she dismounts, once the repressed memories return, the sinners will come face to face with the red glow of her eyes and the metallic stench of blood that surrounds her, and it will be a big problem. Once the truth comes out, we, the sinners, will never be able to see her in the same light again. So what's going on?
저 낡은 신발에 무언가 있는 것이구려.
This must have aught to do with her horrible, terrible, unfashionable running shoes. What I've been fearing ever since the incident at the warp train, the fear that has been madly scratching at the back of my mind. The fear that the bond between the sinners will be irrevocably broken. Will everyone be accepting of this deception, accidental though it may have been? Even if we were to survive, will she return to how she once was, as one of us sinners? How will I appear in their eyes, I who knowingly hid the truth from them? Can I truly face this Don Quixote when I trembled from so much fear the last time? Yet, as if to render all these raging thoughts in my head void, Don Quixote takes off Rocinante. Oh no. And lets her bare feet touch the cold earth. Ah, that's fucking... There's something about that is incredibly unsettling. I don't even know what it is. Specifically, it's not just the fact that her eyes are red. Somehow it's changed her entire face. And I think they have subtly drawn it ever so slightly differently. If you had a side-by-side comparison, it'd be a lot more apparent and prevalent, I imagine. It's definitely... I think the mouth is actually what's doing it. The lack of any kind of... I don't know. You know what it is? It's the lack of any Don Quixote in her face. That's what's unnerving. That character has now ceased to be Don Quixote as we knew her. And that is deeply unsettling. All of a sudden, visions of Don Quixote's past begins flooding into me, raw and unfiltered.
도망쳐. 너는 살아서 내 이야기를 마저 이어줘야지.
하지만 저는 입니다. 인간들과 살 수는.
I don't like them, they're terrible.
이젠가 내 루신한테만 있으면 어디로든 갈 수 있어.
I maintain my previous assumption that Rocinante at least... Well, actually, my previous assumption was that Rocinante was the originator, or at least one of the big important kindred. It seems to be the case that they actually owned Rocinante.
루시한테 멈춰! 제발 걸어가지 마! 안 돼! 난 떠나고 싶지 않아! 왜 내 의지에 반하여 움직이는 거야!
Ah.
너무 싫어! 부탁이니까 제발 멈춰!
There are so many potential outcomes here.
자기야, 루시한테 나를 데려가지 마.
Because obviously none of the... Assuming this is the castle, which is still an assumption by this point, and assuming there were second kindred in the castle, which is once again an assumption because it's not necessarily been confirmed or denied by this point, this makes sense because literally no one other than the king, who is presumably the originator, that's still not actually confirmed, but I'm pretty sure it's the case, no one except them wanted to leave the castle. They were all happy there. They didn't want to live among humans, they didn't want none of it, they just wanted to stay there.
도시 어딘가에 놀이공원이라는 곳이 몇 군데 있어.
Ah.
그곳에선 모든 사람들이 즐거워해. 단지 그 공간에 있다는 사실 하나만으로 말이야.
So the idea of like, you know, creating that, of like adopting happiness as it were, like all the stuff we talked about in the previous part of this play, is what led them to make an amusement park, because they never had first-hand experience of an amusement park. They didn't understand the specifics of an amusement park. They simply knew it to be a place where people were happy. And they were like, cool, we'll make that.
모두가 춤을 추고 노래를 부르고 웃음을 터뜨리지. 전쟁이나 다툼도 없이.
They look vaguely familiar, yet I don't know why. Oh boy. Red fluid wells in Don Quixote's eyes like it did back on the train, the very same sanguine color I feared so much, the eyes I never wished to see again, and yet here they are. This is gonna be a thing. She inhales deeply, then exhales. Like she hadn't breathed in forever. She turns around and looks down at the blood fiends surrounding us. Reflected in her eyes are things infinitely beneath her. Oh god.
이걸로 이 카니발에 필요한 모든 장면이 전부 완성되었어.
It's gonna be the best fucking carnival you've ever seen.
넌 그때도 우리 동료들을 터뜨리며 어떤 가책도 없는 눈으로 나를 바라봤지.
Uh-huh.
축하해. 이제 모든 길이 다 열렸어.
God, every revelation brings so many more questions.
퍼레이드가 이제야 완성되었네.
Yeah, they can stop doing the parade now. They can stop marching in circles, perhaps?
산초, 나 결심했어.
Oh, yes, Sancho.
또 뭘 말이십니까?
Huh.
나는 도시 최고의 해결사가 될 거야.
Huh.
약한 사람들을 돕고 나쁜 사람들의 모조리 응징하는 거지.
Huh.
도시에는 그 쓰임새에 따라 협회라는 게 생기기도 하는 모양이더라고.
This is all true, yes, technically.
지난번에 찾아온 그 달의 기사인가 뭔가 하는 놈이 한 이야기를 듣고 그러시는 겁니까?
Right, yes, Sancho is, I think, in charge of La Mancha Land, but Sancho is not the originator. Okay, yes, right. Sorting out pieces of information in my head, shuffling people and places around, you know, being like, okay, now that fits there, that makes sense. Alright, and that might still be wrong, who knows?
단언하는데 그 결심 3일도 안 가서 분명 도루묵이 되고 말 거니까 쓸데없이 일 버리지 말고 얌전히 있으세요.
Well, he just wants to go do adventures and stuff.
지난번에 한창 빠졌던 그 자수 뜨는 것도 이틀 정도 하다가 질린다고 그만두셨잖아요. 온갖 최고급 실은 다 구해오라고 하셨으면서.
I mean, you gotta try stuff out to know what you want to do. Most people, or at least a lot of people, don't just intrinsically know what they want to do. You gotta try stuff out. I didn't know I wanted to make videos until I was like 20.
조용히 해라, 산초야. 너 때문에 뭘 하려고 해도 내가 기가 죽잖니. 이거 뭐 누가 상위 권속인지도 모르겠어.
Indeed, indeed.
말만 그렇게 하고 결국 하고 싶은 건 다 아시잖아요.
돈 키호테 씨?
Oh no.
아니, 돈 키호테 씨가 맞는 거죠?
In a sense, technically, allegedly, supposedly, kinda.
혼자 어디로 가는 거야?
I don't know, Rodeo. The other side of the screen hasn't revealed itself yet.
오늘도 오시는 겁니까?
Ah.
이제 정말 결판을 내야 하시지 않나요? 아니, 이미 그런 때는 지났나?
What confuses me though is that she wore Rocinante as a blood fiend. Why would taking off Rocinante in the modern day leads to her remembering all of her blood fiend stuff and strange. Anyway,
그렇지. 그런데 이제 그런 생각이 들어. 대체 승부가 뭐가 중요하지?
That's the spirit. It's all about the taking part.
그리고 다음 이야기가 무지 궁금한 걸. 하필이면 거기서 딱 끊길 줄은 몰랐지 뭐야.
Outrageous.
전 모르겠습니다. 싸우지도 않을 거면 왜 인간을 계속해서 이곳에 들이는지를요.
그런데 산초, 너도 말은 그렇게 하면서 계속 이쪽을 흘낏거렸잖아. 특히 하나협회라는 소속의 해결사가 그 꼬부랑 고개에서 떡 하나 주면 잡아먹지 않는다는 괴물과 마주쳤을 대목에
That doesn't seem like it would have happened.
안 그랬는데요.
No, not me.
그랬다니까. 아, 말 나왔으니 말인데 역시 마지막엔 하나협회 쪽이 이기겠지?
Probably.
아니요. 수바이라는 곳에서 온 해결사가 결국 역전을 해서
Ah. Haha, fool.
거 봐.
Correct. Don Quixote, what are you doing? I know you don't listen to me normally. I don't know why you'd listen to me now, but excuse me. The name that feels so alien now, the ticking sounds of my clock, neither stops Don Quixote. Yeah, can she even hear Dante now?
하지만 어떻게 해결사가 되겠다는 말씀입니까?
I feel like being a fixer is kind of one of those things where it's like, yeah, there's a standard procedure, but if you're also just really tough, they'll kind of be like, yeah, you can go out, you can go in.
해결사란 것도 결국 인간들이 만든 것이지 않습니까?
Then the way to become a fixer would be to convince the humans that you are a fixer by successfully applying to be a fixer, yes? You can philosophize all you want, but it's a pretty simple case of philosophy.
우리가 근처에 나타나기만 해도 사냥하려 들걸요.
That does throw a spanner in the works, though, I'll admit.
뭐 당장은 그럴지도 모르지.
But once I punch them all, they'll be forced to make me a fixer.
그런데 생각해봐 산초. 나무가 아니라 숲을 보라는 거지. 지금이라도 길을 잘 닦아놓으면 언젠가는.
The interesting thing is, you know, references to the city and the associations, like the Hunter Association is already a thing when this tale of the Blood Fiends doing their thing began. This can't be that long ago. Like, it's probably a while ago, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's like, oh, it's like fucking 2 years ago. I was like, no, that's ridiculous. But in the grand scheme of things, considering most vampire tales and stories are usually like millennia old, this probably wasn't that long ago. We're probably talking maybe decades rather than centuries, but who can say right now? Because I don't have the context for it. But that would mean that blood fiends are a very recent problem plaguing the city, and it seems like they're the kind of thing that people have been dealing with since forever. But they might have been playing on our expectation of that by presenting it all as storybook medieval kind of shit, when in reality no statement of time had actually been made. I don't know.
인간들과 사이좋게 지내는 것도 가능할 거야.
Yeah, totally.
그러면 나는 혈기 최초 해결사가 되는 거지. 얼마나 근사하냐?
I mean, I like the idea, mate. I gotta be honest, I think it's pretty cool, yeah.
아마 팬클럽도 생길지도 몰라.
You'll even get a fan club! Ah!
꿈도 크십니다. 터무니없기도 하고요.
Maybe they'll even let us open a ham pang pang right here in the Blood Fiend Castle.
원래 꿈이란 건 크고 터무니없이 잡아야 하는 거야.
You're right, Alucard. How you doing? That's a cool design, though. I like him. I do. I like this. I feel like there's supposed to be more significance to this image, but I don't know what it is. These are remarkably good images, by the way. Especially that. There's a lot in that. There is a lot in that face alone. There is a lot. There's some here. There's a lot here. Some here. Much here. Wait, you were Sancho? Oh, that was your name! I'm so fucking stupid. That was your name! That was your name! You weren't always Don Quixote. Right, yeah, okay. Alright. Yeah, okay. Right, gotcha. Oh, there's a lot in that face as well. I'd love to use that as a thumbnail, but I can't. For many reasons. But Yeah. I dare say he's still here.
돌아왔구나. 나의 산초.
Okay, I guess that explains why her ego attack is Sangre de Sancho. Alright, yeah, makes a lot of sense. Fair enough. I'm now, because I would never do this, because I don't want to ever know any details behind, like, ego attacks and stuff, because I know that's going to be, like, story spoilers, and I want to go into these with as few details as possible. I'm now going to go translate Sangre de Sancho. The blood of Sancho. Yeah, I figured that's what that meant. That makes a lot of sense. I had never thought about the words Sangre de Sancho. Never thought about what that meant before, because I'm not actively overanalyzing every aspect of each character. I prefer to take information as it comes rather than attempt to find more outside of the context in which the media I'm engaging with is choosing to present it to me, because then I'm receiving information in the correct structure for that piece of media to then tell its story. I don't want to get to certain points and be like, yeah, it's obviously this, and then it is that, and I'm like, well, that's boring, isn't it? I knew Sancho was in the attack move, of course. I thought it might have been a reference to a mentor or something because I didn't look into the meaning behind it, and that level of incorrectness allows this to be a surprise. That's interesting, though. That's very cool. A voice, foreign yet familiar, the sound of thick wooden doors and heavy chains. As soon as the door opened ajar, we could feel the powerful energy of the golden bow emanating from within. That's not great. That's not where we want the golden bow to be. But I guess this does dispel my suspicions about Sanson. So who's he then in all this? Was this the scent of rusted iron or the dense metallic smell of blood? Why can't it be both? The speaker, his body one with the pillar from which the scent emanated, speaks to us through the golden bow, impaling his torso. Why do people keep stabbing each other with these trees? They keep doing this. Or perhaps he speaks to Don Quixote. Or Sancho.
이제 이야기해주렴.
Now tell me all your stories.
네가 꾼 나의 꿈에 대해.
Ah. Because obviously she initially didn't want to be an adventurer, but he did. So he was like, you go be an adventurer for me. And she's like, I don't want to. And he's like, tough, my shoes are gonna fucking take you there. That's good. That's a good scene. That whole cutscene, very good. Liked it a lot. Very happy with that. We're in part 3, and lo and behold, it's a fucking dungeon. Go figure. Suppress the dungeon boss. Okay. Still, we got a lot of level 50s here. Level 49, level 49. And the backups are generally strong enough. But if you upgrade characters whilst you're exploring a dungeon, like outside of the canto, as it were, like you come back here and do excavations and whatever, it does apply to the dungeon. So, look, if the entirety of part 3 is a dungeon, it's probably quite a long one, so we're not going to beat it today, but we can at least get started. Of course, the windmill is the final area. Yeah, naturally. Alright, well, let's get started, shall we? This is the team. I'm really tempted to bring Team 6 because I love the purple, but we've been doing this and we're going to keep doing this. Average level 41, recommended level 50, recommended identity and ego upside thread spin tiers 4. Yeah, I don't think I have any tier 4 egos in this team. I'm actually going to have a quick look. Yep, not a single tier 4 ego. Cool, we're ready. Fuck it. Easy. Don't even worry about it. I'll do it with my eyes closed. You can't prove I didn't.
스바이 협회의 해결사 아이기스는 이에 좌절하지 않고 뗏목을 만들며 드넓은 바닷가로 다시 나아간다.
Now Sancho's telling the stories. Aegis is a great name for a fixer of this vile association.
동료들이여, 단언컨대 지금의 시련도 우리를 단련시키기 위한 발판일 뿐인 걸세. 언젠가 이 방패에 우리의 고난을 명예롭게 새겨넣어야 하지 않겠는가?
She's so small. And she's no smaller than she is normally, I don't think, but she's so small.
그러니 포기하지 말고 앞을 향해 나아가세라!
But this isn't Sancho. That's the weird thing. This is all just the influence of the king, as it were. Sancho never cared about this shit.
그들은 서로의 눈을 바라보며 굳세게 고개를 끄덕였다. 오!
What a line.
하지만 눈앞에 지를 치고 있던 적에게서 무수한 화살 세례가 퍼붓는 것이 아니겠는가? 장대비처럼 쏟아지는 화살 속이었지만 그들은 결코 물러서지 않은 채 철의 방패를 들고 공격을 막아냈구나! 그러나 제 아무리 튼튼한 방패라고 해도 거세게 몰아치는 적의 공격에 이 방패는 금이 가기 시작하고
Tell you what, whatever they're paying Don Quixote's voice actor, they should pay her double.
동료들은 모두 두려워하며 뒷걸음질을 치기 시작하는 그 순간
Shameful display.
안돼! 포기하지 마세라! 내가 그대들의 방패가 되어주겠네. 끝내 철의 방패가 부서진다고 할지언정 이 몸이 화살을 막아내면 그만일 뿐.
That would end very poorly.
온몸에 화살이 내리꽂힌들 정의를 위하는 이 마음만큼은 꿰뚫지 못할 것이니.
No, they can very much go directly through your heart, like arrows do that. Yeah, no, they definitely can.
그들은 계속 앞으로 나아가시게. 어떤 상황이 닥쳐와도 포기하지 마세나. 오늘 모험도 참으로 박진감 넘치고 가슴이 뜨거워지는 이야기였군.
Indeed.
주바이 해결사님께
How long did she spend in the lighthouse?
이번이 131번째 엽서라오.
'Tis my 131st letter. It went from whimsical to tragic very quickly. I want you for CBSCT. I know that's not Walter, but in my mind that's Walter. And that's that girl who's on, what's it called? That one, like, is viability in Ruiner that everyone loves because it gives you endurance. It's obviously not her, but it reminds me of her. Ah, fun.
하지만 본인의 정열적인 마음을 전하기 위해서는 어쩔 수가 없더군. 제법 귀찮게 굴더라도 이해해 주시게.
At least with her type of language, her way of speaking, and, you know, making statements, as it were, her choice of vernacular, her letters must be extremely well written.
본인도 곧 해결사가 될 몸이요.
Are you?
그대의 가르침에 따라 정의를 추구하고 포기를 모르는 해결사가 될 걸세.
잊지 마시게. 미래의 해결사 돈키호테요.
Oh, she was absolutely fucking mental. Okay. What do I mean was?
해결사는 언제나 정의를 미덕으로 삼아야 하며 어려운 자들을 못 본 채면 안 되고 성심성의껏 도와야만 하네.
It's so, yeah.
물론 잘 알고 있어.
Yeah, shut up, I know, me. Because I'm projecting the voice through that picture.
내일은 트레스 협회와 모험을 떠날 예정이네.
Trey Association, oh wow.
트레스 협회라면 최근에 빛을 발하고 있는 그 신규 협회로군. 도시와 해결사들이 사용할 장비, 그리고 그걸 만드는 공방을 관리한다지.
It occurred to me until exactly this moment I had no idea what the Trey Association did. That's cool.
해결사 협회는 역시 도시가 필요로 하는 순서대로 세워지는군.
Despite the fact that most of them are actually just glorified mercenary companies.
그럼 우리의 만남은 다음을 기약하기로 하지. 그러면 이 다음에 있을 모험은
유적의 천둥 사막에서 괴조의 심장을 꿰뚫은 모험이지.
Did you just stand here telling or making up stories all day? Did you read stories and recount them, or did you make them up? Did you ever go to the river? Did you ever meet the Night of the Blue Moon? Or were you just here the whole time?
맹활약을 기대하겠네.
Aha.
물론이지. 언제나 그랬듯이 이번 모험도 대성공일 걸세.
Aha. Aha.
나가지 않는 것을 제안하지.
I recommend you stay put inside. Oh God.
이 바깥에는 무엇이 있을지 알 수 없다.
Okay, so I get the impression that she did eventually go to the river, like meet the knight, go to the river, so on and so forth. But I also get the impression she spent a very fucking long time in this lighthouse. Wait, didn't the knight give her the lighthouse? Like, or lead her to the lighthouse to be like, hey, this is your home now. And she just stayed here for ages? I can sit here and conjecture with, like, limited information, or we can get on with this. I say we get on with this.
동의한다네. 누구인지도 모를 자에게 함부로 문을 열어줬다가 재앙을 맞이한 빨간 두건을 기억하게.
The Red Hood.
하지만 문을 두드리는 것이라 하면 본인을 찾는 자가 있다는 소리 아닌가?
One would assume.
너카는 이 정도면 인내심 있게 해준 것 같군.
Oh! I'm very stupid. Okay, this was after the river. Right. She took on the name Don Quixote long after the fact. Right.
나름대로 탄탄하게는 지어놓았습니다.
I had to expend 1% of a fraction of an effort to get through that door.
이런 구조라면 추격하는 혈귀, 아니 혈귀 사냥꾼까지도 거뜬히 막을 수 있겠군요.
But not a color fixer.
그들이 이 유적까지 찾아올 수 있었는지는 별개의 이야기겠지만.
자네는 누구인가?
Okay, unless he wasn't a color fixer yet, I call bullshit. Surely she would know who he is.
저는 당신이 떠날 진짜 모험에서 길을 안내해줄 길잡이입니다. 베르길리우스라고 불러도 좋습니다. 저의 예전 제노에게 전해 듣기로 당신은 제2권속이라 들었습니다만.
Well, this will quickly establish if this is pre or post River of Oblivion.
이권소?
Post.
게다가 여기 해결사분들은 밖에 나가지 않는 것이 좋을 것 같다고 하였소만.
이 눈을 보고도 떠오르지 않으십니까?
An eloquent way to attempt to resurface that memory.
너무 그리 무섭게 쳐다보지 마시게나.
She's just a little friend.
그리고 본인은 가야 할 모험만 1708개가 남아있단 말이오. 내일은 트레스 협회가 있고 모레는 하나 협회가 있고 그 다음 날은.
Of course, because the river drives you fucking mental. Yes, okay. She truly believes she's going on these adventures. Obviously, she truly believes she's talking to other fixers as well, when she's not.
이 포스터 수십 년은 지난 자들이군. 역시 그자의 말대로 많은 것을 잠재워 두었나. 피를 탐하는 그 타고난 성질조차.
Okay, so she doesn't even know modern fixers, at least not at this moment in time. She only knew fixers from decades ago.
그들과의 모험은 중요하지 않습니다. 그리고 그 해결사들의 말에 귀 기울일 필요도 없을 겁니다. 왜냐하면
Because I outrank all of them.
협회로부터 색을 부여받은 제가 안내할 모험이 더 낫지 않겠습니까?
Right? Yeah.
착색! 잡지에서 본 적 있다네. 그 1급 중에서도 뛰어난 해결사만 받는다는.
Indeed.
생긴 지 얼마 되지 않아. 받으니까 손에 꼽는다고 들었다네.
This does kind of explain, if assuming this is even the case, it might not be, but this does kind of explain how Don Quixote did all of those adventures prior to, you know, sipping from the river, because obviously that's what the adventure was for, and how she managed so much stuff, as it were, back then, because she was still very much a second kindred and fully aware of her nature, and was in her prime, basically, as it were. Then she supped from the river, then came here, then wallowed in this lighthouse for fuck knows how long. So of course, at the start of Limbus, she's practically on par with every other sinner in that they're all kind of shit. Not super shit, but like they're not particularly strong, because she hasn't done anything for presumably decades.
편냄새조차 잠재워두길 원한 당신이니 이전 신분으로 대하는 건 여기까지만 하겠습니다. 그래, 나는 모두를 올바른 길로 인도하는 길잡이다.
But the right path for whom?
이 여정에는 너의 동행이 필요하니 나와 함께 해야 한다. 그 대가로
In return?
때가 되면 언젠가 들었을 약속의 시계가 너에게 향할 것이다.
So when the vision in the river before she actually drank from it mentioned him, it was referring to Virgilius? Because Virgilius would bring her to the timepiece?
약속?
그래, 너도 나처럼 약속에 얽매여 있지. 그러니
Gasp.
이 눈을 기억해라.
Remember this glare?
너보다 한 단계 더 진한 피를 먹으면 내 눈을 바라보며 끝없이 되새겨야 할 거다.
These eyes that hold the blood of a generation higher than your own. So there is a correlation here between that and blood fiends. Not gonna jump on that assumption and hold it, but that seems to be the implication.
본인은 당최 무슨 말인지.
But the audience does.
때가 되면 너에게 다시 찾아올 너만의 약속을 지금은 잊고 있겠지만 결코 잊지 못할 그 약속을 다시 깨닫고 지킬 수 있도록.
Indeed.
그것이 네가 나아갈 모험의 조건이다.
In fact, and rather.
이를 받아들일 마음이 있다면 너의 이름을 내게 말해라.
Oh. Right. The original fucking... The originator is called Don Quixote. Okay, yeah, alright. Sure, yep. Got it. Okay. Because by this point, Sancho didn't even remember that their name was Sancho. That's really cool. I like that.
본인의 이름은 돈키호테.
Thou may knowest me as Ishmael. Call me Don Quixote. Don't worry, guys. I get all the references.
아니, 그 이름은 내가 아니야.
That is not your name.
맞습니다, 산초. 호기롭게 모험에 동참한 당신이었지만 그 이름은 빌린 것에 불과했습니다.
It would be kind of amazing if from now on, like, in every cutscene, in every menu screen, everything in the game from now on, her name was Sancho. Like, and it stays that way. Or every menu except everything, or every cutscene except one's prior to Canto 6. Everyone prior to Canto 6, she's Don Quixote. But from now on, in every menu, every cutscene, everywhere, she's just referred to as Sancho. That would be fascinating. I don't know if they'll commit to that, but it'd be pretty fucking cool.
당신의 모험이 가리키는 길은 언제나 하나였죠. 그분의 가르침대로.
산초야, 나 말이다. 좋은 생각이 났다.
I'm going to write my name on my shoes. What do you think? Is it cringe or cool? I think it's cool, so I'm going to do it. Do you like my coat?
하지 마십시오.
She looks pretty cool, actually. They both look cool. Blood Fiends are cool.
혈기 전쟁에 참전해 보려 한다.
Take part in the Blood Fiend War?
그 말은
그래, 인간의 편에 설 거야.
That's interesting. I like this nice Dracula.
반발이 상당하겠네요.
In fact, barely anyone is gonna like your ingenious idea.
이상할 정도로 덤덤하구나. 그럴 줄 알았다는 듯한 반응이야.
조만간 그 말씀을 하실지도 모른다고 예상했으니까요.
This is fucking fascinating to the point where I'm simultaneously rambling and babbling too much and also not saying anything. It's a weird feeling.
물론 다른 장로들이 저마다 잔소리를 하거나 갖가지 설득을 하러 찾아오겠지.
Yeah, but the Primogen are lame-o losers, so don't worry about it. I'm not actually even sure that's necessarily what Primogen would be. It doesn't matter.
앞으로 찾아오는 손님들이 많을 거다, 산초. 그러니까
네, 미리 계피가루가 든 과자를 준비해 놓겠습니다. 미사의 장로님은 그것만 먹으면 기침만 하다가 물러나시더군요.
That's right, we shall defeat them with cinnamon.
내가 말하려던 건 출타 중이라 하고 성문을 걸어 잠그자는 거였는데 네가 말한 방법이 더 낫겠구나.
Then it's settled. Cinnamon cookies and then... what were we talking about? I don't remember.
오히려 제가 우려하는 건 자식들이 가질 반발입니다.
Yeah.
아, 그건 괜찮아. 가족이잖니. 이해해 줄 거야.
I don't know how long their patience is gonna hold out for.
그러고 보니 산초야, 너는 왜 권속을 만들지 않니?
Ah, typical question. Typical parent question. Why don't you have kids yet?
혼자가 좋습니다.
Couldn't agree more.
저는 앞만 보며 살고 싶기 때문에 제 뒤에는 아무도 없는 편이 나아요.
Respectable.
마음 바뀌면 말해주렴.
Until then, not another word.
바뀔 리는 없겠지만 알겠습니다. 길고도 고통스러운 전쟁이 될 겁니다.
Yeah, quite a thing to just randomly and blithely decide, hey, we're gonna go join a war. Yeah, we're gonna go war. Go do a big war. It'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
같은 동족의 머리를 터트려야 한다는 걸.
And also that's no small detail.
그러게 말이야. 하지만 머리를 터뜨려야지만 꺾여지는 신념이라면
That would be a simple solution.
그 나름대로 의미 있는 전쟁이 될 거다. 그리고 말이다, 산초야.
On that subject,
아마 보나마나 그 전쟁은 내가 이기겠지만
as it obviously will.
예.
Mm-hmm.
전쟁이 끝나고 나면 모두가 행복해질 수 있는 장소를 만들 거야.
Ah, yes. La Mancha Land. Lovely.
행복이요?
왜 그런 표정이?
What, you don't like happy?
그 단어를 입으로 소리내어 말해본 게 까마득한 일 같아서요.
Huh. Don't look into that.
기억나느냐? 그자가 말해준 놀이공원이라는 곳 말이다. 사람들이 즐거움에 몸서리치며 비명을 질러대는 장소.
Indeed.
난 그런 곳을 만들 거야.
Well, something went horribly wrong at some point because you're impaled to the wall by a fucking bow.
즐거운데 비명을 지른다는 건 아직도 이해가 가지 않습니다만.
Well, wait till you discover fixer stories.
그곳에는 말이지, 산초. 지긋지긋한 싸움도 없고 언제 잡아먹힐지 알 수 없는 두려움도 없고 오로지 웃음소리만이 가득할 거다.
Cool idea, but how's it gonna work?
웃음소리.
Laughter. 저는 그 가족에 속해 있는 혈기는 아니었지만 지켜보는 입장에서 조금은 기대했던 것 같습니다.
Oh, so is Sanson not even a part of... Interesting. Okay. So I was way off the mark of my assumptions on Sanson.
인간들을 죽이거나 지하 세계에 눈에 띄지 않게 숨어 살거나 둘 중 하나가 전부인 이 세계에서 그자는 혼자 꿈을 꾸고 있었거든요.
Respectable.
하지만 그곳에서 제가 본 건 웃음에 가까운 절규였습니다.
So Sanson doesn't even oversee any part of La Mancha Land. By all rights, he's technically not even affiliated with it. Which is why his name badge is a completely different color. But you know, that alone, until now, wouldn't have been enough of an assumption to go on. It was shit for everyone, as it turned out.
아니요, 당신들은 여길 나가지도 죽지도 않을 겁니다.
She has the cape thing again. It looks so fucking cool.
라만찰랜드에 곧 많은 손님들이 방문할 예정이거든요.
So what is the purpose of La Mancha Land now? Why does it exist? It's not fulfilling its intended purpose, so what is the current intended purpose?
다들 각자에게 부여되었던 임무에 대해 기억하고 있겠죠? 200년이 지났어도 그곳에선 한순간도 잊어버린 적이 없을 테니.
인간이 다시 온다고?
Fun.
축제다. 축제는 끝나지 않았어.
사람은 바뀔 수 있을까요?
Yes, but I appreciate that there's a bit more weight behind that question here.
바뀔 수 있을 것이라 믿었지.
I fervently believe they can, but once again, the context here is very different.
길고 힘든 싸움이 시작될 거다. 우리를 원망하는 혈기들도 있을 거야. 아주 많겠지.
We are proper fucked, but behold, a windmill. I hate those things.
동족의 배신자라고 앞다투어 비난할 테고 인간을 해치지 않고서는 살아갈 수 없는 존재라고 그게 당연하다고 부르짖을 테지.
And the sad thing is, they might be right.
우리는 같은 병에 걸린 채 수백 년을 함께 지냈던 동족과의 이연을 끊어내야 하는 거다. 서로의 유일한 이해자니. 그러니까 지금이 진짜 마지막 기회다.
If you want to defect, now's the time.
관둘 사람은 여기서 관둬도 좋아.
그럼 관두겠습니다.
Oh, damn. Wasn't quite expecting that.
미쳤어?
Hey, Barber. You seem better here.
진짜로?
He's like, wait, I was joking. Hold on. It was one of those things where you say it, but you're not actually supposed to actually refuse. I was just being nice, offering the option, but you actually took it. Oh, well.
그렇게 말해도 안 놔주실 거지 않습니까? 가족이란 게 관두고 싶다고 그만둘 수 있는 게 아닌 것처럼.
Harsh. You always looked kind of fucky, but at the very least you seem better than you were. But it's interesting to see that the barber and the priest were loyal to the king, or to Don Quixote more specifically.
그날 기계 숙청의 날에 이미 전 죽은 목숨이었습니다.
The machine purge!
어버이의 뜻이 곧 저의 뜻입니다.
안 그래도 요새 가위 손질을 할 일이 없었는데 잘 된 일이죠?
Can I say that the barber looks really fucking cool? She looks fucking dope. Back at this point when she had a lot more of her, you know, like her composure and her dignity, she stood up straight. Obviously still had a bit of a sadistic streak, but it seems to come with a level of elegance and dignity, and it's very cool. And the scissors are fucking radical. Look at that.
그래, 우리 돌신해야 해?
This will be interesting. Damn. Well, they weren't wrong.
그러던가요.
뜻에 따라줘서 기쁘구나. 그럼 가볼까?
All of my children. All the ones that are important, yes.
다들 너무 걱정하지 마. 어차피 내가 제일 세거든.
I'm quite tough.
그러니 우리가 고민해야 할 건 전쟁에서 승리한 다음에
Yeah, no one's put out the bins since this war started. They're gonna be overflowing.
어떻게 살아갈 것이냐. 그치?
That's depressing.
어떻게 살아갈 생각입니까?
잘은 모르겠지만 지금보다는 더
I can see why Sancho's not particularly happy with him, though, because he doesn't seem to think these things out. He just makes decisions on impulse. And he has way too much power and influence to be making these decisions on impulse. Yet, he is doing it anyway.
즐겁게 살아갈 수 있지 않을까 싶어.
Should, based on what exactly?
누군가를 죽이지 않고서 살 수 있는 삶이란 그럴 것 같지 않니?
Yeah, but how? You're just making statements. You're not actually... There's no reason or explanation or justification behind them, other than, I suppose, your intended idea to make La Mancha Land. So I guess he believes that's going to work at this point. La Mancha Land hasn't happened yet, so no one knows that it's a horrible idea. You have to... It's one of those things where you kind of have to do it to realize that it's not going to work.
드디어 돌아왔구나. 나의 산초. 오늘은 정말 기쁜 날이구나. 보고 싶은 나의 자식들이 모두 한자리에 모였어.
My, how times have changed, yet the more they change, the more they stay the same, isn't that right?
인사는 나눴니? 다들 너를 얼마나 그리워했는지 모를 거다. 산초.
Well, she beat the shit out of the barber and the beautiful, so that's interesting.
왜 그런 꼴로 계시는 겁니까?
Indeed, what the fuck happened?
이거 말이니?
This is merely a minor inconvenience, dear daughter.
내 몸에 수많은 말뚝이 박히기 시작하고 그 수를 다 세기도 의미가 없어졌을 무렵 어느 날
I started counting sheep instead. Still couldn't fall asleep.
하늘에 빛이 보이더니 이것이 내 몸에 녹아들 듯 파고들더구나.
I was about to say something really stupid. I'm gonna share it anyway because it popped into my head, and then I immediately smacked down my own thought by going, "That's stupid," and we already know the answer. I was like, "Can a blood fiend manifest or distort?" And yes, they can. There's no like conjecture there. We've seen it, so that is a possibility in this scene. A light in the sky. Could he be talking about a golden bough? I don't know. Maybe the one in his fucking chest. Then there must have been a lobotomy corporation branch here, and the golden bough within resonated with his... Ah! Damn. Don Quixote slowly walked toward the man who spoke in a sedate voice. Well, it's actually Sancho, but you know, it's whatever. That's the Fathoms of Ego. We should go after her now. We woke up from our dumbfounded silence at the sudden turn of events and hurriedly followed her inside. This is probably one of the few occasions where everyone standing around and not doing anything makes 100% sense, because so much just happened, so much was just revealed, and so much information has just been like displayed and given that everyone would just be stood there like trying to make sense of it. I've been sat here trying to make sense of it to the point where I haven't progressed scenes for extended periods of time because I've been sat here trying to make sense of it. God damn. Now, I guess I do see... Oh, this is different. I do see how this will probably end. Like, I don't know the fine details, but I probably know one of the broad strokes, which I'm sure is probably... Sancho is going to be like, I'm not Sancho anymore. I'm Don Quixote. That's who I am now. That's who I became. That's who I am. That's what's what. And, you know, we'll go from there. I also noticed that, yeah, Sancho's not here. We're going to have to do this dungeon without her. A borrowed name.
저거 밖에서 쉔크 해결사에게 지고 꼴 새롭게 쓰러진 그 녀석 맞아? 저 많은 혈기를 한 번에.
I kind of forgot that happened, to be honest. She's been wearing limiters this whole time. Oof. Ooh. Every time a blood bag or a blood fiend approached anywhere near her, Don Quixote struck them down with a blinding blitz.
힘을 숨기고 있던 건 아닌 것 같고. 아니 그것보다
Not hiding so much as suppressed by external measures.
혈귀?
Oh yeah, she's a blood fiend. I kind of thought you guys had already figured that out by now, but yes, absolutely.
기가 차군. 우리가 돈키호테라고 불렀던 저자가 혈귀였다니.
Yeah, that wasn't even her name. Wild, huh?
인간 행세를 하면서 숨어 있었나.
Not pretending so much. She didn't even know in the state that she was in.
잠깐, 그 말이 좀 심하지 않아?
Good old Gregor immediately jumping in to be like, wait a minute, hold on, calm down.
더한 말도 할 수 있지만 관리자님 앞이니 자제하는 중이다만.
That's funny, you don't normally. Otis did not hide her disgust. She looked toward Faust with that very same expression.
이에 대해서 윗선에서는 물론 알고 있었던 사항이었을 터. 호시탐탐 우리의 피를 노리며 숨어있던 혈귀의 정체에 대해서.
Yeah, this is kind of unavoidable, isn't it?
하지만 아까 그 이야기들을 보면 의도적으로 숨긴 게 아니라 자신을 스스로 정말 돈키호테라고 믿고 있었던 거잖아.
To the point where the human, quote-unquote, known as Don Quixote, was an entirely different entity from Sancho or Don Quixote, the king of the Blood Fiends. I don't know if he's actually the king, as it were, but the story referred to him as the king, so that's just the title I'm giving him, because frankly, originator does not roll off the tongue.
동시에 저자가 해왔던 이야기는 전부 거짓이라는 소리기도 하지.
Also, it occurs to me, and I'm an idiot, but whatever, we know that, but the king isn't even the originator of Blood Fiends. I think he's just a first kindred. I appreciate it's probably been obvious for a while now, but I just immediately operate under the assumption that, oh yeah, this is the person where all the Blood Fiends came from. Nah, he's just the first kindred of this clan. They all used, like, blood weapons. Sancho's out there right now using blood weapons as well. This is just a clan. Presumably Cassetti also came from this family. There's a lot to unwrap.
과거의 혈기로 살아가면서 얼마나 많은 인간들을 해쳤을 것 같나.
Probably a few.
아무리 수상쩍은 짓만 하는 회사라곤 하지만 이런 식으로 나와 관리자님을 위험에 빠뜨리게 한 걸 방관하는 건.
방관한 적은 없습니다.
I mean, Virgilius has been on the bus, like, the whole time. And then we spent a lot of time thinking, oh, Virgilius is just leaving us to die, blah, 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 blah. But then he did show up in the basement of the mansion. But then again, he also didn't help us with Ricardo. So, it's a bit all over the place, really.
그래, 이제 어쩔 셈이지?
Admittedly, there are more pressing concerns, yes.
라만차랜드의 토벌이 아니라 오히려 라만차랜드의 부흥을 도와주고 있는 꼴이 되어버렸군.
Yeah, it is a bit awkward. Turns out the Fixer group that is betraying the rest to help or / join La Mancha Land is technically us. Go figure, I said that ages ago. Don't know why I didn't think it could be us. Now, obviously that wasn't our intent, but that is kind of what we've accidentally done.
돈키호테 씨.
그건 내 이름이 아니야.
Yeah, it's not her name, straight up.
내 어버이의 이름이다.
Just in case we weren't paying attention. Stop calling her Don Quixote, it makes this really confusing. Don Quixote's red eyes shimmer threateningly at Sinclair. The very same eyes I never wish to see again. He's like, yeah, that's me, I'm Don Quixote, hello.
산초야, 너
Much more severe than I remember.
그래. 너 또한 하나 달라지지 않았구나.
Yeah, kinda had to force her to change, and then she changed back.
네, 변하지 않았습니다.
Damn.
아무것도 바뀌지 않았다고.
So what does that mean? Because we don't actually know a lot about Sancho's general views and personality. We have an idea of it so far, but we don't know anything concrete. She's clearly quite powerful, fairly impassive in terms of not being particularly... It's not particularly emotional. The only time she really kicked off was when she was being sent on an adventure she didn't want to fucking go on.
똑바로 보세요. 당신의 로신한테는 아주 잠깐이나마 저를 억누르게만 하였을 뿐 저는 여전히 피를 먹고 살아야 하는 혈기입니다.
Interesting.
당신의 이 라만차랜드도 결국 인간들을 마구잡이로 잡아먹는 것에 혈안이 되어버린 공간으로 변해버린 것처럼.
Hey, she nicked that expression from Ishmael. It's just as thousand-yard stare as it was then as well.
그래, 내가 사람은 바뀌지 않아.
I don't know, Heathcliff's changed quite a bit.
우리는 그 병이 이끄는 대로 사는 것 외엔 방법이 없지.
This is a more interesting question because I know it's presenting the philosophy here, the moral question here is can people change? And like every person who's sat at their desk or sat with their phone playing this game goes, of course people can change. We see people change all the time, but that's not actually the question, or that's not the full question. Because we're not talking about whether or not people can change here. The idea here is not, could Sancho become a different kind of person? The question here is, can we subvert our nature? They're blood fiends. They're vampires. They need blood, and really, typically, they kill people to get blood. Don Quixote, the king, head of the clan, whatever, was like, maybe we don't have to do that. But events have transpired in such a way that now even he believes that, like, no, all we can do is just kill people and drink them. Like, we can't change that aspect of us. That's the question. And right now we have an answer. Not a good one for anyone, but an answer. That has been proven by events that have taken place, by Rocinante's suppression being lifted and Sancho returning to exactly how they were prior, to Don Quixote now being nailed to this fucking pole or pillar or whatever and being like, yeah, no, all my plans fell apart. What interests me and what confuses me is that back on the train after murdering Cassetti, Sancho was like, please put the shoes back on. She wanted to go back to being Don Quixote. Now, she doesn't seem particularly fussed. But it's possible that even when Rocinante fell off during that engagement, like they fell off because Cassetti tried to turn her, she was still under the effects of the River of Oblivion. A lot of her memories had still been erased. Now those memories have returned, so her perspective is entirely different now, as it was compared to what it was when she was on the train with Cassetti, or what was left of Cassetti, because you could scrape up what's left of him into a Tupperware box. It's quite a fucking scene.
사랑하는 나의 가족들도 그걸 알기에 나를 계속 설득하고 회유시켰지만 나만 너무 늦게 깨달아버린 것이지.
It's a shame. He's a very likable character, but he definitely has his flaws, which, you know, all characters do.
콜리나, 후리안부로 돌시네요. 그들이 당신을 이런 꼴로 만들어버린 겁니까?
Are we gonna go body them?
그렇단다. 내게 어울리는 왕좌인 거지. 산초야, 너를 다시 보게 된다면 한없이 반가울 줄 알았는데 이제 보니 아니구나. 너만큼은 날 대신해서 바깥을 떠돌며 내가 듣던 것보다 더 멋진 모험을 하고 돌아올 줄 알았어.
The irony is that after the river, she did the exact same thing that her father did, which was sit in a secluded location and hear about tales. Despite the fact that she did actually go and do her own, but the thing is, when she did do her own, she didn't enjoy them at all. That's the impression I'm getting. She hated it. She always did hate it. So there's another theme here. It's another thing I love about these cantos, is that there are so many running themes. There's never just one theme. There's always multiple. And another theme here is a parent attempting to impose their own desires upon their child, right? Like, let's use a real mundane example. A bloke wants to be a great footballer, but he never quite made it happen. You know, he wasn't good enough or whatever. He then wants his kid to be a really good footballer, but his kid doesn't even like football. But he's like, no, you definitely want to be a great footballer. Go be a footballer in my stead. And they're like, I don't fucking want to. And we see this all the fucking time. Obviously here, the stakes, the context, the surrounding details, the setting are all very different, but it's still, ironically, a very human story. I remember ages and ages ago I highlighted a difference in psychology between humans and blood fiends, and someone was like, well, they are still just people, they're still just like humans, and it should near enough be the same. And I'm like, yes and no. They are definitely capable of the same emotions. Indeed, most of them used to be human, from what I can tell, and that is definitely a thing, but these circumstances and these experiences and the cravings brought on by blood would create entirely different avenues of behavior, mental process, perspective, and feeling rooted in psychology. It is why I would distinguish it, not because I believe that they are so alien to normal humans, but because those different experiences and feelings and cravings and stuff would create different personalities. And it's indeed why so many blood fiends are so unstable, because they've lived with a crippling addiction for hundreds of years and aren't fulfilling it properly. You would also see that in humans, of course, in drug addicts and such, but of course, this is that turned up to 11, because that's what the Project Moon setting does. It's very human, almost very mundane in a sense. Ideas, experiences, contexts, and philosophies dialed up to 11. And being like, okay, you can sit there and say, killing people is bad and we should all be nice to each other and be friends, when you live in your standard-ass human society, likely. Let's speak to the experiences of a standard person's life rather than those who live in more extreme circumstances, i.e. war zones or particularly hostile cities. Like, you can sit there and spout philosophy. I'm literally doing it right now. Let's acknowledge the irony. You can sit there and spout philosophy and beliefs and what is right and what is wrong when you sit in such a comfortable and safe environment. But what about somewhere like this? What about somewhere where your ideas of community and friendship and generosity, benevolence, kindness, charity, what about all of that in a place where someone would stab you dead for like 5 pence? Or because they felt like it, and not a lot would stop them, and they know that they can do it because not a lot would stop them. What happens then? What happens when you live in a society where there are people who can clear a street of people violently in the span of about 5 seconds? And even that's not so outlandish. That is a possibility that always bubbles beneath the surface of real-world society. Here, we explore the idea of, like, what if that does happen? What if that's what's happening all the time? How does that affect human psychology? How does that affect one's perspective, one's perception of the people around them and the place they live? How does that affect the place itself? What kind of laws do you start to encounter in that kind of setting? What kind of people? What kind of means of conflict resolution? And they've taken the vampire aspect and been like, okay, what about vampires in this context? And then also use that as an engine to explore, like I said before, more mundane concepts. That was a huge fucking yapping session, and I do apologize, but this is what I find interesting. This is what I like. I like being able to explore these concepts from this standpoint. This is what's interesting to me. It's not all power levels and ego attacks and manifestations, though those are fucking rad. It's not fixer offices and cool weapons and funny and awesome character designs, though those are definitely an aspect. It's this. It's the society. It's the people. It's how they interact with each other. It's how they form their world views from the surroundings that they're in, from their personal experiences, from what they're afflicted with. And blood fiends are probably one of the most interesting ways to explore that. You have that aristocratic style that they seem to have, yet that aristocratic style is immediately contrasted by the utterly wretched nature that most blood fiends live in, living like rats, forced to murder or, frankly, not literally but metaphorically, dissolve, melt. But I've gone on long enough.
하지만 지금 내 눈앞에 보이는 건
And Don Quixote, the king, is not even necessarily in the right here. This is not him, he's not necessarily speaking entirely and passively from a position of moral superiority. He's speaking from the position of a parent who wanted their child to turn out a certain way, to do a certain thing. In this case, to live out the dreams that he wanted to experience but never got to. He wanted her to do that so he could experience it vicariously. And that's not necessarily the best thing for Sancho. She didn't want any of that. She wanted to live in peace in the castle with her family. But he didn't let her do that, and he fully believed he was in the right to not let her do that. Maybe he was right, maybe he was wrong. But it wasn't necessarily his decision to make, despite what he may believe.
나와 내 가족들과 다를 바가 없는
It's distinctly possible Sancho didn't want to be any different. The space we're in is changing. It's changing. There's a maze here and a funny little Lobotomy Corporation insignia, so you know where we are even.
황금가지가 저자의 마음에 영향을 받았던 걸까요?
Yeah, he's getting upset.
그러고 보니 대호수에서 마주했던 창백한 고래의 몸속에도
Yeah, that did happen, didn't it?
황금 가지가 박혀 있었죠.
There was.
그래. 심장 엄청 깊숙한 곳까지 파고들어 있었지.
Yeah, we just keep stabbing people with pieces of tree. Why do we keep doing that?
기생이란 생존 방식과 흡사한 양상이군.
Hey, Musso, it's been a while since I've heard from you.
그래서 어떻게 할 거야?
Well, we go forward, I guess. There's not many other options. I guess that's my decision, isn't it?
관리자님, 황금가지가 박힌 저자는 본래 강한 존재였을지 모르나 어찌된 영문인지 지금은 쇠락한 것으로 보입니다. 지금 결단을 내리시면
Otis, you wouldn't even finish that sentence before Sancho took your head off.
헛소리. 그놈이 문제가 아니다. 저놈 냄새가 달라졌거든.
Ryoshu is absolutely right. He's not the problem here at all. I mean, he's a problem. He's not the problem. Ryoshu pointed a finger toward Don Quixote. No, towards Sancho.
시계. 싸울 거라면 일찍 말하도록. 가기 전에 한 대 정도는 더 태우고 싶군.
Last cigarette before lights out. Yeah. I'm gonna try talking to her first. But bear in mind, I can't resurrect myself, so, be on standby.
같이 가요, 단테. 다른 사람들도 이쪽으로 일단 오세요.
Being accompanied by someone with a shield is reassuring. I slowly approach Don Quixote, who regards me with her dark eyes, her usual twinkle seeming like a distant memory.
몰라서
Well, that's a good start.
제 이건 속인 나를 너희는 의도적으로 이곳에 데려왔지.
I don't know what that purpose necessarily was.
내 어버이를 저런 꼴로 만든 혈기들을 내 손으로 응징하고 덧없이 삶을 이어나가는 그분을 내 손으로 직접 끊어내게끔.
I mean, that seems reasonable, I suppose.
하지만 저희는 전혀 몰랐어요. 의도가 아니라.
The thing is, I'm sure Sancho believes that the rest of the sinners didn't know, but I think she knows that Dante knows. Because they've spoken before.
아니요, 의도였습니다.
Ah, well, you know. Faust takes a step forward.
저와 워프 열차에서 정신을 잃지 않았던 단테만이 알고 있던 정보였죠.
Well, there you go.
뭐라고요?
Yeah, we lied to you guys like a lot. Or not necessarily lied, but lied by omission.
수감자의 과거를 파우스트가 먼저 말하는 것은 금지되어 있기에 어쩔 수 없었습니다.
I'm pretty sure Dante's not allowed to either.
별, 다, 금.
Soup prepared rationally. That must be what she said. Nothing else would make sense in this context.
과거를 숨겨주는 건
그레고르 씨나 싱클레어 씨한테도 그랬고 다 숨겨주고 있던 거잖아요. 직접 말하기 전까지.
It's true.
지금은 적이 아군에 침입해 있었던 게 밝혀진 상황이다. 다른 이들 사례와 비교하는 건 적절치 못하다고 본다만.
To be fair, both sides do make a good point. Ishmael is absolutely right. On the other hand, Otis is adjacent to the good point, which is the difference between, say, Gregor and Sinclair and Don Quixote, now Sancho, is that neither Sinclair nor Gregor was an active, consistent potential threat to everyone around them. Whereas Don Quixote / Sancho was. Even though obviously the way Rocinante and the water of the rivers of Oblivion worked meant that actually there was no way she was ever going to show her true nature, restore her true personality without coming here to La Mancha Land. It was never going to happen if we didn't come here. But it is a good point. In essence, technically, the entire team was in danger from word go. Even though in actuality that's not the case. But technically, on paper, in theory, everyone was in danger the whole time, and probably aren't best pleased with that knowledge.
에이씨, 이럴까봐 말 안 한 거겠지.
That's also a good point. It's weird to see that come from Heathcliff, because a couple cantos ago, he would have been on the other side of that, which once again goes to show, hey, people do change.
난장판이네.
And Honglu's just here in all this. With all this as it's happened, and it's like, oh, hey, look, my colleague and friend is actually a blood fiend. And he's just stood there like, it's so nice to hang out with my sister. It's been so long.
아, 다들 사이가 좋아서 그런 거야.
Yeah.
다들 그만하시오. 더 이어지면 추태가 될 것 같구려.
Agreed.
그래, 홍룬의 동생도 보고 있고. 응?
Yeah, we don't want to embarrass Honglu, guys. It'd be embarrassing for him. Don Quixote watched our bickering wordlessly as if she didn't care, probably because she doesn't. Until the squabble among the sinners began to subside. The entire time they bickered, I racked my brain trying to come up with something, but I just hoped you'd understand. And come back to our side, to be one of us again. Wouldn't that be cool? Remember Electric screaming? That was fun. Remember the purple team? I remember the purple team. All I managed to express was this pathetic, naive hope I'd been stewing in the back of my mind. Hey, sincerity is a powerful tool, but with obviously the key being that it's not utilized as a tool because that's not sincere. But you get what I'm saying. Sometimes there's nothing stronger than legit sincerity.
함께한다라.
Yeah, we're all friends, right? Fuck it.
너희는 우리의 세월을 모른다. 우리의 투쟁과 발버둥과 아픔과 승리를 영원히 모를 거야.
I gotta be honest, I think the sinners would be more inclined to listen to Sancho's stories than Don Quixote's stories. I think they'd find it quite interesting.
찬찬히 되짚어보며 난 모든 기억을 찾아갈 것이고.
That's the point, she is dealing with all of those memories coming back at once, so she's probably in quite a state.
그럴수록 나는 잊고 있던 분노와 혐오를 깨우칠 테지. 그렇기에 나는 더 이상 너희와 함께할 수 없다.
I mean, it does kind of seem that way, doesn't it? I can't imagine, like, there probably will be because, you know, Don Quixote IDs costed money, technically, you know, lunacy. But narratively speaking, I can't imagine a situation in which everything just went back to normal. In every other canto, except maybe Ishmael's, because Ishmael was going pretty far off the rails during hers, I could easily see like, oh yeah, we beat the thing and then everything goes back to normal. Even Heathcliff's, despite how dire that was and the fact that we literally fought him, you know, in a distorted state, I was like, yeah, no, but he's gonna come back to the team. And I know that Don Quixote will come back to the team, probably as Don Quixote, not even as Sancho, just a normal ass Don Quixote again. She will come back to the roster completely normally. But narratively speaking, I don't see how that could be the case. But of course, that's why we press on, isn't it? If this is just a fucking Picatulum fight, I'm not even gonna fucking bother showing it. There's no point.
산초야, 네가 돌아왔으니 이곳은 더욱 즐거워질 수 있을 거다.
Yeah, he's not himself anymore.
내 가족들은 이제야 진정으로 행복을 찾을 수 있었단다.
I can see the windmill in the distance.
저들은 너무 오랫동안 고통만 받았기 때문에 누구보다 행복을 누릴 자격이 있는 거야. 이 라만차한테 네가 돌아온다. 지금보다 더 웃음이 가득 찰 수 있겠구나.
웃음이라. 우린 니놈들을 남김없이 토벌하기 위해 왔다.
Once again, no we're not. We're here to get the golden bow. Even Otis has forgotten.
우리는 참 많은 이야기를 함께했지. 산초, 아무것도 모르는 저들에게도 보여주도록 하자꾸나.
I would not be surprised if a boss fight against Sancho was on the cards. I'd be really surprised, in fact, actually, if that didn't happen.
당신은 무모했죠.
True.
상대는 인간의 피를 매일같이 마셔대서 피가 끓어넘치는 거인 같은 혈기들이었지.
That's quite significant. Didn't know that could happen.
우리는 치열한 일전을 벌여야 했단다.
And the fact that despite that, they were only formidable foes and the battles were only challenging and not 100% one-sided with no chance of victory does speak to how strong Don Quixote and the rest of them were.
그곳에서 당신은
허황된 꿈에 불과했지.
자, 그대들이여. 결전의 준비는 끝마쳤는가? 곧 출정할 시간이니 문제가 있다면 지금 말하시게나.
If you have any complaints, now's the time. If you want to use the bathroom, now's definitely the time. Sancho's like, well, I already said I'm not doing it. What ails me?
산초여, 말해보아라.
말투는 왜 그렇습니까?
Because he's being a big general hero guy, you know, like in the stories he heard about.
장차 해결사가 될 몸이라면 그에 걸맞은 말투가 옳지 않겠는가?
Indeed.
그리고 이 말투를 쓰고 있으면 왠지 모르게 가슴이 뛴다네. 산초, 자네도 이 말투를 써보는 것이 어떠한?
Huh. Because it's dumb and I would never, she said, making lingering eye contact with the camera.
하지만 그날 너와 초원을 마음껏 달렸던 일은 상쾌했던 것 같구나.
It's pretty fucking tragic.
혈기들의 기습으로 당신의 창은 꺾였습니다.
He used a lance as well.
네가 만들어준 창이었지.
That's so cool.
상대를 너무 얕본 나머지 방심한 탓이었어. 내 오래된 안 좋은 버릇 중 하나야.
It literally all fell apart at this battle.
누누이 조심하라고 말씀드렸을 텐데.
세찬 바람 때문에 내가 공중으로 붕 떠오르고 들판에 내팽개쳐지자 곧바로 네가 달려오지 않았니? 숨까지 헐떡거리면서.
그 정도는 아니었습니다.
I didn't care that much. Calm down.
내가 하늘을 바라보며 누워 있는데 그 풍경에서 네가 나오더구나. 지금 생각해 보면 나는 그 순간 덕분에 전쟁에서 이긴 게 아닌가 싶다.
Okay, so you did win.
그 전부터 이길 거라고 확신하지 않으셨습니까?
바뀔 수 있을 거라는 생각을 가졌던 것 같긴 했지. 평생을 뛰기 귀찮아했던 네가 숨이 찰 정도로 달려오는 것처럼
I feel that. Running sucks.
우리 역시 천천히 바뀌고 있었던 건 아닐까 하고.
Perhaps mistaking the need to adapt to pressing circumstances as a sign of change. Then again, he was very hopeful, so he'd have been willing to kind of delude himself in that respect.
나는 우리는 실패했단다. 산초. 그래. 이건 그 기록이야.
A testament to our failures. We're using Darkest Dungeon ancestor quotes now.
마음껏 둘러보렴. 산초. 우리의 비참한 실패를.
A lot's gonna happen before this is over.
방해꾼 하나가 사라졌군.
Almost feels like the Picatulum fight was just a formality to be like, yeah, I guess we need to break up the story with a bit of combat. Anyway, Sancho walked into the maze and manifested before us, as if to obey Don Quixote's words to observe the desolation.
저 혈귀가 아까 날 구했던 오빠의 친구와 같은 사람인 거 맞지?
That's correct.
같은 사람이야.
Same person, but also really not.
돌았나? 저자 입에서 나온 소리를 듣지 못했어? 돈키호테라는 자는
Yeah, that's what I've been saying.
하지만 제가 보기엔 역시 같은 사람인걸요?
But that's also technically correct. Hongler replies confidently. Or perhaps that was just how he usually talks. Even when we grew suspicious, even when we found ourselves at our crossroads, his voice would always carry that calm confidence, so much so that it almost seemed silly. But thinking back, he's been more right than wrong. And I hope that is the case again today. I try to put my faith in that hope.
진정. 어떻게 이런 물러터진 인간들만 주의해. 저것이 금방이라도 돌변하면.
Some kind of past experience seems to be fueling this mentality, but it is also 100% understandable. Otis.
말씀하십시오.
Otis straightened up and looked in my direction in her usual militaristic stiffness, but I could see the thinly veiled anxiety and mistrust seeping through her stoic expression. It was inevitable. Whatever the reason, I did hide things from the sinners. And Otis is very sensitive to people withholding information, so it's no surprise she's so disgruntled about this. I'm not sure if disgruntled is it seems a bit of a light term for it, but yeah. However, because it is Otis I'm speaking to, we're going to follow Don Quixote. I mean Sancho.
그건...
But that's bullshit! Sorry, let me finish.
예, 실례했습니다.
Aw. I can't know exactly what you're thinking. I can't read minds, you know, but I do know that you're unhappy about this, because I'm very perceptive. I should be able to explain everything to you in due time, so... I would like for you to trust and follow me through this path, which I believe is our way to victory. Otis's grievance probably runs deeper than what's already left her mouth. It wasn't just the omission of intelligence that bothered her. What she was really worried about was that omission compromising me, herself, and the operation itself. That's just the kind of sinner she is. Then the solution must be to address that very thing, to tell her that everything is going according to plan. Remember how every mission we have done so far led to me resonating with the Golden Bough, and how that was the key to solving them? It's definitely not going to happen this time because you've just said it out loud. It won't be different this time, no, it won't be different, I'm sure of it.
관리자님께서 그렇게 명하신다면
It better fucking turn out that way, Dante, or you're gonna have serious problems with Otis.
따르겠습니다.
Sorry about forcing you to come along.
작전의 성패와는 관계없이 그리고 그 근거가 충분한지를 떠나 이 오티스 직위에 굴복한 것이 아닙니다. 제가 불안 요소라 판단한 부분에 대해 관리자님께서 이해하고 그것을 설명하려 노력하셨기에 관리자님의 해안을 따르겠다고 생각한 것뿐입니다. 혹은 과거에 행하던 것을 무의식적으로 떠올리시는 걸지도.
Distinctly possible. I remember a thing though, but neither did Don Quixote.
저놈이나 관리자님이나 기억이 사라진 통에 골치 아픈 일이 정말 많군요.
도시에는 기억을 없애버릴 방법이 워낙 다양하니까요.
Yeah, it seems strangely common.
그렇지. 알려진 것만 따져봐도 기억을 없애는 것에는 여러 가지 방법이 있어.
And these are two very not public ways to do it.
가장 보편적인 건 기억을 회수하기 위해 다른 물건 혹은 사람에게 옮기는 방법. 특정 도시에서는 아예 상품으로 내놓기도 해.
Oh, it's like brain dances in Cyberpunk.
두 번째는 영원히 파쇄시키는 방법. 가장 저렴하지. 하지만 의도하지 않는 기억까지 건드려지는 부작용이 심해서 뒷골목의 거주자가 주로 찾아.
I'm sure that always ends well.
그리고 알려지지도 않았고 누구도 접근할 수 없는 마지막 방법.
The river?
망각의 강물 혹은 레테라고 부르지. 이 강물을 마시면 기억은 의식 저편으로 묻어둘 수 있게 돼. 꿈속의 기억처럼 아득하고 희미하게.
So that's how people were able to kind of prompt responses from Don Quixote by referencing these things. Because you could see she became more and more distressed as the canto went on, because more and more things were prompting those hazy, dim memories.
시춘, 네가 지금까지 찾고 있는 게 그것이었구나.
But why?
정확히는 망각의 강이 있는 곳 어딘가에 있는 다른 강이야.
Ah.
나는 그 강물이 어르신들이 그토록 찾아다니던 정신의 불사와 관련 있을 거라고 짐작하고 있어.
Yeah, that won't be exploited at all.
불로불사 말이지?
The Fountain of Youth?
그래. 지긋지긋한 그거.
Maybe that's how my memories were removed. I don't even have a dreamy recollection of my memories. It's like they were uprooted straight from my head. So as I've been transferred to a different person or an object, which I suspect to be the case, or it's been totally destroyed, forever unsalvageable. Still, I have no clue as to who, how, or why anyone would do such a thing. I guess it's not the most pressing concern right now. Jia Xishun briefly glanced at me as my clock ticked on before turning her attention back to Honglu.
그래서 내게는 발이라는 자가 남긴 흔적들이 굉장히 소중해.
Ah, she's looking for Barry.
그리고 자세히 말할 순 없지만 내 눈엔 보여. 그자가 이곳에 남겼던 옛 흔적들이.
Oh, was Barry a lady?
오빠에게도 중요한 정보잖아. 우리가 후계자로 살아남기 위해서는 어르신들이 원하는 그 불로불사에.
I don't think Honglu cares that much. Jia Xishun stops herself midway through her sentence.
우리는 여기서 헤어져야 한다는 소리구나.
Oh, damn it, she was very useful. Oh.
벌써 가는 거야?
We could really use the help right now, you know, even though this has no interest to you whatsoever.
길이 갈라졌으니 헤어질 시간이네요.
오빠의 친구가 정말 망각의 강물을 마셔서 기억이 사라졌던 거라면 굉장히 혼란스러운 상태일 것 같아. 꿈속에서 일어났다고 생각했던 어렴풋한 장면들을 나의 과거라고 인정해야 하는 것이라면.
Yeah, I imagine she's in quite a state right now, even though she's not really showing it.
맞아. 슬프고 복잡할 거야.
It will be sad and complex, which is precisely what we came here for.
꿈속의 내가 나인지 꿈에서 깬 내가 나인지 통 모를 테니까.
Yeah, pretty much.
하지만 나비든 뭐든 다시 날아가겠지.
Huh.
말해줘서 고마워, 시춘.
그래. 어쩌면 마냥 뜬구름 위에서 지내고 있는 건 아니었을지도 모르겠네.
Oh, Honglu's been out here doing serious business.
머지않은 시일을 다시 보자. 아마 그렇게 될 것 같다는 생각이 들거든.
At least this relationship seems a little better now. Huh.
시춘이 그렇게 말한다면 그렇게 되겠지.
속으로우니까 인사는 생략하자.
Well, you did, so whatever. Gotta. High fives Honglu, who just stands there rather confused. Not at what she said, but my assurance that I got her. Oh boy, more story. Abject failure. Alright, okay, fine, cool. Bit harsh, don't like being called out like that. Don Quixote, if that even is your real name.
그 이름은 내게 구원이었다.
Things sure have changed, huh?
우리는 동족에게 배척당하고 인간에게는 추악하다 여겨진 존재들. 인정하지. 라만차린들을 세울 때만큼은 모두가 웃고 있었다는 것. 소량의 피와 혈액파만으로도 살 수 있을지도 모른다고 생각했었으니까.
But like I said before, it's something you had to do to realize that it wasn't a good.
모두들 이것 좀 볼래? 나랑 이발사가 몇 년 동안 노력해서 만들어낸 그것의 시제품이 나왔어.
We've come up with these delicious hemo bars.
뭡니까 이건?
Not a good sign.
응고시킨 혈액이야.
Ah.
우리들의 생존에 필요한 영양소는 다 들어있어.
The problem is that it tastes like garbage.
맛이 크레파스 같아.
Oh, I bet that tastes great. Oh, that sounds really good. Imagine if you had to live the rest of your life eating one thing and it wasn't very good. And you lived for hundreds of years, at least.
여기서 맛까지 따지다니요, 돌시대장님. 이제 할 수 있는 한 최대한의 맛을 뽑아낸 거란 말이에요.
You hear me? The earlier drafts were even worse.
인간들에게 자발적으로 받은 소량의 피만 이용하면 혈액반은 끊임없이 대량 생산이 가능하단다.
Perfect. Everything's fine now.
위대하군요.
So splendid.
우리 라만차랜드의 가족들에겐 이걸 계속해서 지급할 생각이야. 다들 기억해주렴. 라만차랜드만 잘 운영된다면 우리는 모든 혈귀의 자랑이 되는 거다.
Yeah.
사료가 없이도 피 없이도 인간과 함께 살아갈 수 있다는 걸 증명하는 거니까.
That refers to what I was talking about earlier. Don't worry, guys. We got this lion and we've kept it alive on tofu.
그리고 단언컨대 손님들은 바로 몰릴 거다.
Once they see all the attractions, like shooting range.
어떻게 장담하십니까?
바깥 세상도 내가 살아왔던 이 세상과 똑같이 너무 지루했거든.
And people are looking for some joy.
인간들도 모두 마음속 어딘가에서 자신들을 즐겁게 해줄 무언가를 간절하게 기다리고 있을 거야.
The tragic fate of all startup businesses.
그래서 내가 구상을 더 해봤는데 퍼레이드 마지막에는 역시 내가 등장하는 게 제일 좋을 것 같다.
Well, that would be fun, wouldn't it?
그래야지 사람들이 더 많이 환호하면서 박수를 치지 않겠니?
He's like, after all, I am very cool and important.
당연하죠. 제가 누구보다 멋져 보일 수 있도록 옷을 만들어 드릴게요. 인기가 제일 많은 건 저일 텐데요.
Yeah, I wonder why.
아름다움에 있어선 저와 견줄 사람은 없을 테니.
Sounds like a competition.
황금처럼 찬란한 네가 아름답다는 것에 누가 이견을 달겠니? 하지만 그래도 말이다, 돌시네야.
Even still, I have to at least try.
쓸데없는 이야기만 할 거면 전 이만 나가보겠습니다.
But frivolity's the whole point.
과연 그 말대로
Mm-hmm.
라만차랜들은 많은 인간으로 붐볐지.
But then what happened? But then what happened? You can't stop the cutscene there. If you make me fight more Picatula so I can hear more story, I'm gonna be so angry. Abject failure. We approach the faded signpost in this twisted place. Space. Welcome to La Mancha Land. The two types of tickets and their prices are written underneath that logo. Looks like we'll have to purchase a ticket here to enter. Which one should we purchase? Look. If my company's going to an amusement park, we're getting the all-day pass, you know what I mean? Each sinner paid for their own all-day pass with their blood. Some of them were none too happy about this decision, but they all agreed to go with all-day passes. We should be able to experience every attraction here as long as we have this ticket. All allies take 20% damage. Ego gift attained, La Mancha Land all-day pass. On here gets targets with 10 plus sum of bleed, unique bleed, and rupture. Gain 1 poise potency and count. Great, I don't do any of those. I guess some of these enemies do inflict bleed on themselves though. So it could come into play, but I fucking doubt it. That wasn't worth it. Maybe it was. We walk past the entrance and into La Mancha Land. Which area should we visit first in order to escape this maze-like amusement park? Fuck it. I know I can win fights. We'll do blood chewing. Maybe the way out will open if we defeat as many blood fiends as we can. Some sinners suggest that we attempt the fantasy blood chewing again. To adventurers who make it to the end of the attraction, we grant you a token of victory. Through the pre-recorded voice line, a blood fiend cheers us on. We've already done this once. I'm sure we can do it again. Combat encounter. Win to get the token of victory. It better be good, I swear to God.
흥미로운 일이 벌어지면 좋겠어요.
18. This is gonna take a while. Fuck me. For the sake of this not being a ridiculously long video or long edit, I am going to be skipping minor encounters in their entirety in regards to the editing. We're not doing combat edits. When you see the length of this video or videos, if I've decided to cut it up, you'll fucking thank me later, trust me.
탈출 개체가 정리되었습니다.
Easily handled by the likes of us. On kill with a skill damage, one ally with the least SP heals 8 SP. After attack, if an enemy with a 10 plus sum of bleed, unique bleed, and rupture is defeated, the unit who killed the enemy gains 2 offense level up next turn, 3 times per turn. Cool, okay, suppose that's decent. Oh, that's a boss. That's a boss. If my memory serves, that's a boss. We see a door to a giant containment chamber. We're going to have to get through that to escape this maze. There's an unfamiliar machine on the road to the chamber. Machine! It must be a raffle machine La Mancheland used during event periods. A little bit of blood for something very useful. There's an advertisement written in elaborate typography. Maybe we'll be able to find something very useful in there. Oh, maybe. Yeah, let's do it. When the sinner pays with their blood, the raffle machine begins to whir loudly. You get nothing! With a sad jingle, the machine comes to a slow stop before falling silent. Chances of pulling what we want is probably pretty low. Random friendly units took 20 HP damage. It was Gregor. Poor Gregor. It's okay, he's one of the last people to come onto the battlefield. A little bit of blood didn't give us anything. Is the advertisement text lying to us? Or maybe we were just unlucky. What should we do? Oh, we can do it again. Fuck it. We ball. You get nothing. Gregor is dying. Let's go again. Gregor's a good sport. You win, you win! A loud jolly jingle plays and a cube-shaped crystal made of blood rolls out of the machine. Probably Gregor's blood specifically. Might be useful for something. I don't know who took damage that time. Devouring Cube. When an ally dies, gain 1 ego resource, feature that ally's skills 1, 2, and 3, and 1 random ego resource. That's useful. Oh, it's Sinclair. That's fine. He's probably not going to go onto the field. Okay, boss fight time. Abject failure. We still don't know who it is. Let's give it a go. I'm assuming it's going to be either the barber, the priest, or the Dulcinea. It's none of those. It's a hurting teddy bear. Wasn't expecting. I've got to be honest. Yeah, was not expecting this. Okay. So we want it to use Sad Embrace. The target has more negative effects than faint memories on self. Use Sad Embrace. Okay. Theoretically, big theoretically, we should be able to just kind of make this work. Not being able to bring in Don Quixote's tremor chain sucks, but we'll have to make do, certainly. Well, let's see how it goes. Good start. That sucks. Not a fan of that. It did damage and bleed because of the grimy iron stake. Good stuff. Not good stuff. No. 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 Fail. Yes, thank you. Oh my god. Oh, wow. At least it did tremor. Yikes. That was some damage. Maybe if we use Effervescent Corrosion, we could slow him down next turn, allow for some more active decisions in clashing. Although we've definitely got it this turn. His speed is quite slow. We're going to spend a bit, but we do have stuff that helps us get more ego resources if things go wrong, so should be okay. I can see this going very wrong. I don't know. We're definitely not doing a lot of damage either. We're going to want to get an Everlasting in there at some point. God damn. Especially after Heathcliff manages to land an execution sentence so that we can chain it. Plenty of tremor going on. He's got a lot of health, but his stagger threshold is nowhere near where we are. That did virtually nothing. How the fuck did you fuck that up? I'm absolutely flabbergasted. What are you doing now? A bear plush looks at us with a sad expression. Several sharp nails are impaling its body. Yeah, you're right. Obviously, this is similar to the teddy bear in LobCorp, the one we've seen before. We know this. A Sad Embrace. Targets the Target this unit clash with expression of love last turn. Fix the damage dealt against that target to 0. Gain 2 fragile until next turn. Turn end, enter staggered state. On hit, fully heals the target's SP. And does no damage. Whatever. It did do bleed. Other than that, everything was fine. A bear plush looks at us with a sad expression. Nails impaling its body. Sucks. Hug the teddy bear. Yeah, why not? What will you do? Oh... You must be mad. This choice would make the decision to place you as our manager a regrettable one. Are you taking the piss? Are you serious? Several screws loose? I'm disappointed. Don't talk to me. You know what? Ryoshu thinks she can do it. Ryoshu gave the bear plush a hug. A particularly blunt nail digs into Ryoshu's skin. The happily bouncing bear plush seemed to have soothed the sinner's feelings. Takes 30 HP damage and heals 10 SP. Gains 1 clash power down every turn. I mean, that was worth it. Honest to God, it was. Lowered clash value. Lowered clash value is totally worth it. Now let's body him before he gets back up. Get some execution sentencing going as well. Maybe some big damage, perhaps? We're doing all right. Some decent values. The main goal here, though, is to get some of our crappy attacks out of the way, some of the stuff that needs to be set up as well. There we go, that's something. And he's very close to staggering again, actually, which is pretty fantastic. Lose 1 defense level for every 4 potency, tremor potency on self. So what happens if we set it up with Everlasting? To be fair, the moment he gets hit by this, he will stagger. It's a shame it's the slowest move we've got, but you know, it's whatever. Yeah, this should have an effect. Your plus coin drop makes you weak. Things have put him in time moratorium, but he's going to stagger even without taking damage anyway, because of all the tremor bursts that are going to happen. A lot of tremor bursts happening. He's having a bad time. Hello, do you remember Faust? This is gonna be fun.
제가 어떻게 보일까요? 시간의 태엽 안에 그 답이 있을까요?
Oh, that's fun. Wait, that turned the tremor back to normal. Oh, that's no fun. It seems like this teddy bear has a lot of potentially dangerous things it can do, but kind of, it has a lot of factors that also make it easy to neutralize. That was a lot of damage and he's virtually dead. Okay. And old nostalgic embrace. Deal only half damage. If this unit won the clash, raise the target stagger threshold by attachment. Okay, so he's a tremor boss as well. Fun. That did it. Yeah, that did it. Yeah, that did it. I kind of forgot there'd be abnormalities here, despite the fact that this is ostensibly a LobCorp facility. I did forget. Abnormalities here. Oh, I wonder why. Huh? Oh yeah, how come there's a Lobotomy Corp logo inside La Mancha Land? Ooh, I wonder why. Perhaps they didn't build the place at all. They just fucking stole it from L-Corp.
아니요. 지금 섣불리 말하기에는 확실한 것이 없구려.
Isang, that summarizes my entire presentation of this entire canto, where it's like, every time I stop to talk about something, that is not the appropriate time, for much is still veiled in mysteries to utter with certitude. Absolutely. I did it anyway, though, otherwise I wouldn't have a lot to talk about. I tried to urge Isang, who trailed off mid-explanation, to speak, but... Okay, let me know when you're more certain. I'm sure he has a good reason for not sharing his suspicions at the moment. I nodded.
그리하겠어.
I sure will. 3 cantos from now. Okay then, let's get back on track and keep following Sancho. Abnormality or not, we still have a job to do. Interesting though, because I really figured the bosses was just going to be the blood fiends that we fought before, but like, you know, all ramped up and whatever, and that might still happen, but I thought those would be the only bosses. When hitting an enemy using a single coin skill, bleed potency, defense down, yeah, good stuff. I'm sure we do have some single coin skills, I'm pretty sure, so we can totally make use of that. This is a long path. This is a long path. Yeah, save the team. The team's good. I like the team. The team works. A great adventure. She hates it. She hates it immediately.
괴로워하는 혈기들이 조금씩 늘고 있습니다.
Sorry, Dad, but the hemo bars are shit.
산초.
And she's like, it's true, they are shit. I hate them.
감히 어버이에게 훈계하려는 모습은 썩 보기 좋지 않은데.
Hey, she only made a statement.
사실을 보고하는 거야.
It's true.
아, 산초. 돌시네아랑 퍼레이드 동선에 대해서 논의하고 있었어.
Yeah, that'll help.
네 구역이 인기가 제일 많더구나, 돌시네.
Naturally.
당연하죠. 미에 이끌리는 건 모든 생물이 가진 산성이니.
그러고 보면 둘은 서로 세 마디 이상 나누는 걸 못 봤던 것 같네.
They don't seem to like each other very much. Maybe Dulcinea is slightly jealous of the favoritism shown towards Sancho, but who can say?
같은 제 이곤속이잖아. 자매라고. 산초, 네가 언니 할래?
정말 싫은데요.
This idea sucks. This idea is the worst. I hate it.
그럼 동생.
Don May, she's gonna hate that even more.
먼저 물러나 보겠습니다. 어버이치요.
Yeah.
그리고 저희가 제안드렸던 그 유물 이야기는 한번 고려해 보시죠.
Relic?
그래, 알겠어. 산초, 마침 잘 왔다. 이것 봐. 어제도 유물을 구해왔다.
I found some magic bullshit.
아직도 모으고 계신 중이었으니까
Sure, why not?
포기하신 줄 알았습니다. 지난번에도 기껏 구하신 걸 하얀 달의 기사가 가짜라고 판별해 두고 갔잖아요.
Okay, so the Knight of the White Moon is the same knight who came... Well, actually, I don't know this for certain, but it's implied it's the same knight who came to the castle to tell him all the stories.
하지만 이번엔 상인이 진짜라고 했단다.
Oh, I'm sure.
특히 여기 빗금 모양이 초대 하나협회 해결사가 쓴 투구와 똑같지 않느냐? 자, 여기 사파에 있는 그림과도 비교해 보거라. 똑같지? 그렇지?
She's gonna look at it and be like, there are like 5 different flaws just by glancing at it, and it's not a legit article. Or she doesn't care.
당하셨네요, 이번에도.
그럴 줄 알았어. 그 망할 장사꾼.
Imagine being fucking bold enough to con Blood Fiend Lord guy. If it were any other fucking Blood Fiend of his rank, that merchant would already, like, his remaining lifespan would be measured in minutes. Single digit.
왜 자꾸 그런 걸 모으려고 하십니까? 유물의 힘 따위를 빌리기에는 당신은 충분히 강합니다.
Look, if there's a relic out there that gives me like +1 to speed, I don't care if my speed is 987, I'm gonna go get it. For sure.
유물이 가진 힘 때문에 그러는 게 아니다. 진정한 건 그 유물 속에 담겨 있던 해결사들의 채취, 역사, 이야기.
Passive buffs are the best. Also, what the fuck, man?
참 별종을 보는 듯한 표정이구나.
She is.
다행입니다. 적어도 시력은 멀쩡하다는 거니까요.
안 되겠다. 그냥 내가 직접 발로 뛰어서 유물을 찾아오는 게 더 빠르겠구나.
True, I suppose.
그런데 제 말은 들으신 겁니까? 아까 보고 드린.
So he's gonna be so wrapped up in all this stupid bullshit, which is stupid bullshit, that he won't even notice that La Mancha Land is literally falling apart.
혈기들이 괴로워하고 있다는 건 말이냐?
Oh, he did hear. Okay.
처음부터 순탄할 거라곤 기대도 안 했단다.
But he will have underestimated the severity of the situation, as he tends to.
적응만 하면 곧 무사히 극복할 수 있을 거다. 너도 잘 견디고 있잖니?
She's like, yeah, I eat people all the time.
그리고 산초야, 나 좋은 생각이 났다.
또 무엇입니까?
정말 엄청난 생각이니까 심호흡을 하고 듣거라. 준비됐느냐?
It's so fucking crazy. You won't be able to handle it. Are you ready? Mm-hmm.
나와. 모험을 떠나보지 않겠니?
Oh, that's tragic. Oh. Oh, that's painful. Oh, that's no good. Oh, that sucks. She's gonna hate that.
상담 분위기는 어땠지?
Poorly, I imagine.
언제나 그렇듯이 평화롭고 모두가 안식 속에 있습니다.
Are they really?
그러고 보니 당신께서는 오늘 혈액발을 드셨나요?
그래, 먹었어.
Yep, it tasted horrible.
좋군요. 아, 어버이와 함께 모험을 준비하고 계신다고 들었습니다.
I don't know if she necessarily was like, yeah, I'll totally do that.
말만 들어도 무척이나 기대되더군요.
It would be fun as hell, but unfortunately Sancho hates fun, so here we are.
너 아니다. 물러가라.
무언가 숨기는 듯한 그자를 다시 불러 세울 만큼 친밀한 관계는 아니었기에 그대로 돌려보냈지. 결코 익숙해질 순 없었어.
I'm pretty sure to this day they still haven't gotten used to it.
그저 맛있는 음식을 뺏긴 것이 아니라
I'm gonna say I feel like it's much more significant than that.
우리의 행복과 연결되는 모든 것이 빼앗기고 있었던 것이었으니 괜찮아질 거라고 믿었던 우리는 모두 불행에 잠식된 채로 천천히
Withered even.
이후에
So it's funny that Don Quixote, Sancho is still talking to us. I'd have thought she'd have torn off through the fucking labyrinth on her own by now.
둘이서 라만차 랜드를 벗어나 모험을 떠났던 거군요.
Did they actually go though? Did they?
Day 2.
Ryoshu's level 50, Ishmael's level 49. I think we can make something work here. Maybe, hopefully. We'll see. So obviously, I've been editing like the first batch of footage whilst working on this one because this is a multi-day affair. You guys are in for a very long video, by the way. I'm sure you realize that by now. But I noticed and realized that like in the court when it was all blurry and there was the blue lady in there, that was the night of the white moon. That was Barry, or Barry. We'll say Barry. That was Barry, who I didn't realize until like I was editing it and I was like, oh, cool. As I've gone over that in editing, there are a lot of plot points where it takes me quite a while to figure out what's going on. But there are so many details and my brain went off in the wrong direction so early in this canto that attempting to correct where my brain is in regards to who people are, what they're doing, where they're doing it, when they were doing it, who they are now. It's all been a bit kerfuffled and a bit muddled, but hopefully I can keep things more on track. It has been a couple days, so if I'm a little slow on the uptake right now, you know, cut me some slack. The great adventure. I love it. While the noble knight and his squire was on their most wonderful adventure, the rest of their family waited, chewing slowly on what subsistence they were availed, hemobars. Though it is unclear whether all that waiting was worth it. A sarcastic, disembodied narration echoes from somewhere. Before the sinners, the subsistence that the family was eating appeared. Eat the hemobar. It is flavorless. Leave it. I'm gonna eat it. Obviously, I'm gonna eat it. It's probably gonna be bad, but I have to try. Wouldn't be hyped to just leave it. They gobbled down on that dry, flavorless, quote-unquote food. But their hunger is not the kind to be sated by such supplements. Unable to bear that hollow feeling, they tried to eat more of their food. As though they were trying to convince themselves that gorging on that thing would free them from this starvation. Yeah, there was that guy the priest talked about who ate like 100 of them in one day. Eat the hemobar, or eat the hemobar. Eat the hemobar. Once again, they gobbled up the food. They ate and ate and ate until they could no longer stuff any more of it into their mouths. But oh, how unfortunate, they were still hungry. I'll tell you what, I just had the most delicious, like, pot of instant noodles that was, like, seafood flavored. Oh, so good. The family once again witlessly begins to set their table with that flavorless food. Eat 10 hemobars. Warning, continuing to eat will result in gaining an ego gift with a downside. I have to try, though, don't I? Come on, I ain't no bitch. It seems that they, in their endless naivete, still believe they simply haven't eaten enough food. Let's see how long this meaningless banquet lasts. There's no choice now. The family ate and ate and ate in that desperate wish that this painful hunger might go away. What came next was an anticipation of sorts. that maybe, just maybe, this hunger might go away once the knight and his squire returns from their adventure. So, Don Quixote and Sancho, yes? But it won't go away. It never will. We begin to feel a sudden bottomless hunger once the narration ends. Every sinner lurches over from hunger so intense that it becomes pain. But the path opens without any time for us to fill our stomachs. No choice but to keep moving, I suppose. Endless hunger. First turn, start of an encounter, every identity on the field loses 5 SP and gains 1 attack power up for 3 turns. If the said identity is a blood fiend, it's doubled and inflicts more bleed. That's actually pretty decent, to be honest. Like, only losing 5 SP, like, it does make the first turn a bit of a shitter. But if we're already doing well for SP, if we can get a fluid sack going, then that becomes mostly inconsequential, and we get attack power up for 3 turns. Not bad. And we didn't even suffer any damage. I honestly thought we would have. Nah, that was pretty good. Okay, I'm happy with that. There's another boss fight. I'm guessing another abnormality. Yeah, we've got a long way to go. That's fine. That's why this is a multi-day. One-parter, multiple days. I can't wait. I'm planning to put this up on, like, the moment it turns New Year's for me. And I can't wait for people to be like, you're a fucking psychopath. What do you call this video that's like 4 hours long? And I'll be like, behold, my new longest video. Get fucked. Have fun. Dickheads. A mass of brambles, its thorns sharp, stands in our way, plural. The knight and the squire adventured together for a long, long time. They enjoyed so many adventures together. I don't know if the squire enjoyed them, but you know. Which one of them was the most interesting? The narration, again. What should we say? Forsooth, 'twas the battle against the mountainous giants, or 'twas the deliverance of a troubled village from evil, verily. Indeed, 'twas the adventure for the helm of Mambrino. I'm trying to remember what we mostly have in this team. Like, what's our most... It would be Sloth, which isn't here, which is very irritating. Then again, we're only gaining resources, so we should pick the shit we have the least amount of. Which would actually probably be Wrath and Pride, but I'm going to go with Gloom and Envy because it's probably the most important to us. After a long, trying journey, the knight and the squire claimed the great helm of Mambrino as their own. See, I'm thinking back, and the dynamic of the tales that we were told whilst, you know, Sanson was doing his thing, all of his stage magic shit. You know, there was Don Quixote and Rocinante, with Gregor playing the part of Rocinante. But of course, we've since learned that, you know, Don Quixote is actually Sancho, and the name came from her sire, as it were. So I actually think, yeah, that was before everything kicked off, because Don Quixote mentioned he wanted to go on adventures with Sancho, like there was a relic to go find and stuff like that, and that's what the Helm of Mambrino was. That was tracking down that relic. I think he even mentions a helmet a fair while, but it's a fair while ago for me now. So it wasn't actually Don Quixote and Rocinante, as we know them. It was actually Don Quixote the Blood Fiend and Sancho, who we know to be Don Quixote in our own thing. But you see how these names get confusing? Point is, that changes things from my perspective. I could also be wrong, as I have been many times, but that's the impression I'm getting right now. Clueless about the helm's true powers. What other adventure awaits, one must wonder. Tune in next week. I'd watch the Don Quixote Sancho Saturday morning cartoon. It'd be dope. How unfortunate there were no more adventures awaiting for them. It was time for the knight and the squire to return home. To home, where their family has been enduring and waiting for their return. If you would like to know what came to pass thereafter, please make your way through the brambles. Who will make a path through the brambles? Sinclair is one of our weakest and tends to come in last, so I'm going to use him. Go on, Sinclair, you can do it. Yeah! Sinclair walked into the brambles, cutting open a path for us to cross, which must have been very difficult for him because with this identity, he uses a mace. Thanks to Sinclair, the other sinners were able to make their way through the brambles with only a few scratches. Selected identity took 25 HP damage, but they healed for 10. All sinners gain +4 rupture count at the next combat start. A little dream earned. Good job, Sinclair, I love you. On Clash Win with a Pride skill, heal 5 SP. On hit after Clash Win with the said skill, inflicts 1 bleed count and 1 rupture count 4 times per skill. So bleed and rupture seem quite prevalent in this canto. Bleed a little bit more, but rupture's definitely there. I knew I should have brought my 7 team. My 7 association team with Lantern Don. That's what I should have done. Alright, another Abno, I assume. Time's up, let's do this.
명단에 있는 놈들 모두 명단이다.
So the teddy bear was super easy. Hopefully this one will also be super easy. I fucking hope so. Oh, it's the Rose Hunter! That's such a cool abnormality. I love it. I bet he's gonna kick my ass. Rupture, rupture. Gains power if the enemy has a rupture. Barb's lasso. Gain rupture. At +1 stack, fix this unit's speed to 1. At 2 stack, take 20 gluttony damage. At 3 stack, become forcibly staggered next turn. This effect and the connected barbed lasso both expire. Game 1 at turn start. He could be dangerous, or they, it's not confirmed. If the target has rupture immediately before attack, 20% chance to inflict +1 rupture count. When inflicting barbed lasso, generate a barbed lasso unit. Oh good, he has summons. So that creates barbed lassos if there are already barbed lasso. That doesn't do anything, neither does that. It's all just rupture. So far, none of us have barbed lasso. We should try and keep it that way. I think starting with but the corrosion. What's life without a little bit of risk? Let's go in. Let's go in. Yeah, let's go in. We're gonna spend a little bit to make sure this starts off relatively well. So we'll get Forest of the Flames, for instance, on that, which doesn't do additional damage against Ryoshu, so it should be all right. We need to see what he does before we start spending with both hands. We're already spending quite a bit.
교전 시작합니다.
Good shit. Well done, Merceau. I love it. He's so good. Oh. Oh. Yes. Good stuff. Yes, no corrosion. I love it. Oh, amazing. Yes, this is all going according to plan. No big deal. Good stuff. A lot of tremor there. Okay, so that does do the barbed lasso thing. The Rose Hunter expertly swings the barbed lasso over his head. What a cool weapon. When this unit dies, the barbed lasso of the enemy bound to this unit expires. So it seems to me, potentially, that you kind of want to make sure all the barbed lasso shit happens to one person. You don't want it to spread out, because then snaring lasso does even more barbed lasso. I've never said the word lasso so many times in my life, and it has lost all meaning. I like the music. It has an interesting vibe to it. Final warning, yeah, that'll do it. And then Quake Rounds, which is a bit of a waste of ammo, but see, the game seems pretty confident that Quake Rounds will do the trick. Minimum damage appears to be enough to kill, at which point we wouldn't need to use Representation Emitter. I know sometimes people are like, oh yeah, sure, using Fluid Sac makes it easy. I'm like, well, it's a resource I've got. I'm gonna fucking use it. I'm not Esgo. I'm not here doing a fucking solo level 1 identity against the Refraction Railway or something ridiculous like that. That's their territory. I ain't infringing. I'm just here to play the video game, you know? Nice. Beautiful. Love to see it. Rose boy, you're full of shit. Get fucked. SP's nice and high now. Oh! Oh! No, it's not so bad, to be honest. The lasso is aiming straight for us. The lasso, powered on by the hunter's movements, flies right at us. Who will step forth? Heathcliff. He's the only one who can. You can do it, Heathcliff. Yes. With lightning-fast reflexes, Heathcliff deflects the barbed lasso to the side. The lasso, deflected, flies in the other direction, as something that is deflected would probably do. The Rose Hunter hesitates, surprised by the turn of events. The Rose Hunter gains 3 offense level and 3 defense level down. That's a good contract. Only makes him mildly weaker though. Withdraw Whip. Prioritizes targets with barbed lasso, which is no one. Okay. And really, this is all just if the target has barbed lasso, which we have expertly countered up to this point. Yes, expertly. And we've still got attack power up. That has quite a lot of coins, but I think we should be okay. Maybe execute collections? This should be alright. I don't foresee many issues. Have you unlocked any more passives, Squire? Gain speed equal to the generated barbed lasso unit on the field. Okay. He doesn't actually have many conditions. I think we'll be okay. You're a choir boy compared to me. The combination of using the attack power up from the Hemo bars with spamming fluid sac basically to get our SP up as quickly as possible means we could make use of that attack power bonus, and then by the time the attack power bonus is gone, we are sitting pretty at high amounts of SP. That's fast as shit. What are you doing? Hit him with a... Make him regret. Make him regret. Make him regret. Make him regret. That's what I got for you. Make him regret. You will regret. You will regret. This time moratorium is gonna suck for you. Like in a major way. This also inflicts tremor. How fun.
내가 찾은 나만의 항해 방식.
Bon voyage, fucko. You will regret. You will regret. You will regret.
이 구속구가 나의 폭력을 저지하기엔
I think that got... Oh, wow, yeah, that was a lot of damage. How long? Not long till stagger. You're being targeted by withdrawal whip. Don't worry, I got something special in mind. I got something special in mind for that one. We all love seeing everlasting. It's like, it's actually currently my favorite ego attack in the game visually because it's fucking gorgeous. Binds for the tremor burst. Absolutely going for it, lads. Can't be stopped, won't be stopped. Balling, styling, profiling, unstoppable. Down you go. Styling. Profiling. Yeah. Just land a little bit more tremor before everything goes down. It would be amazing if this staggered him, but I don't think it will. We don't have enough tremor to make that happen now, but soon. Good stuff. That was quite painful. Ishmael! Yeah! Oh, it's a big moment. It's a big moment. It's a big moment. Go on, Faust.
당신에겐 제가 어떻게 보일까요? 시간의 태엽 안에 그 답이 있을까요?
Oh, so good. And it was a stagger as well. Oh, fun. That was very good. I liked that a lot. Such a cool move. It is so cool. Just the pulses being accompanied by tremor burst noises. Delicious. Fucking delicious. Finally, some good fucking food. Honestly, I know it's boring and in some cases not optimal, but my new strategy, especially with this team when I stagger an opponent, is to use the shit moves, the support moves that set up everything else. Like in Ryoshu's case, that's definitely a screw loose. For Rhodia, it's borrow time, which, yeah, limits the amount of damage we're doing, but allowing her to get her clash power up for the next rounds of combat is super useful. Getting out the crap moves like shove, which are really hard to clash win, it just feels like the best move. Execution advised because it's shit. Not shit, but it's the weakest of his moves. It seems like the way to go. Besides, we can use finishing run up next turn. If we manage to accumulate a shit ton of tremor, we can get the next stagger really soon. We've got a fair bit of rupture going, but it's definitely not too bad. This guy ain't hard, but he is fun. I appreciate it. I like it. It's a cool fight with a cool enemy. I love that move so much. It's actually my favorite move of hers. It's the instant transmission teleport melee combos. Incredible. No chance. Go on, Merceau. Do it. Do the thing. Do the roar. That's pretty good. There's the stagger. There's the free attack with a tremor burst, which I don't think matters anymore, but there's some good stuff. Oh, I still managed to get that though. That's okay. So you're out of, you don't have any more tremor, or, sorry, what am I saying? You don't have any more stagger. At minus 40% HP, gain a new pattern. Every turn inflict rupture equal to enemy speed against each enemy. Inflicts 2 barbed lasso instead. Gain 2 offense level and defense level down with every passing turn. So now we want to kill him quick, is the impression I'm getting. That will kill that. That's fine. The rest of you, I'm going to completely change what I have been doing. Giving it all that talk about like, oh yeah, you know, we don't want to go too hard. Like, use these turns to get the easy moves out. Nah. Time for damage. Because if he's going to start inflicting, like, barbed lasso practically all the time, he needs to go now. He needs to be dead yesterday.
파도한다. 그 시간에 뿌리도록 하지.
That's a lot of damage. That was 237. That's a lot of damage. This will also hurt. It would hurt more if we had, like, you know, Wrath Resonance, but it's still gonna do some stuff. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And that Fragile will help us next turn as well. Or it helps this turn, I can't remember. Yeah, it was this turn. Alright, so it helps Rodier a little bit. He is having a bad time. This day is the worst day for him. Problem is, I've used up all my good moves now, and all I have are shit moves. It's the thing I said. You know, the thing I was trying to avoid. Yeah. Can she beat him? Probably not. I was about to say, can she beat him with Wing Beat? I don't think so. Ooh! Was that a kill? Yeah, that was pretty fun. There we go. Not particularly difficult, but a very cool abnormality. Very cool. Barbed lasso. Yeah. Fun. Okay. I think we can potentially get Lust Resonance, Absolute Resonance, but I'm not sure. I can't remember the skills right now. No, we can't get Lust Absolute Resonance. All right, never mind. We don't need to change the team. The team is perfect the way it is. An internment for those who could not abandon their desire. Oh, my. I'm pretty sure this will be a normal-ass battle, so unless there's anything interesting, I will just cut through it. There'll probably be story beforehand. It usually is. In dungeons.
이렇게 맛있는 게 세상에 존재했다니.
Yes, roses, lovely. My favorite part of when I went to La Mancha Land was when my head turned into a rose and some withered old thing ate me. Yeah, 10 out of 10, would go back again, make sure to get the all-day pass.
어떻게 살아왔지? 지금까지 어떻게 이 모든 걸 잊고 지낼 수 있었을까?
I imagine it's probably pretty good.
진짜 언제부터 혈기들이 뒤따라오고 있었던 거야?
So, we'll just smash them. That's what we do. We're good at it.
환상체에 잠식된 것 같군.
Evidently, but didn't we just destroy the abnormality that corroded them? Then again, it'll be back soon. And plus, I don't think the abnormality needs to be about for the corrosion to maintain, so there's that.
너희들이 흘린 피 말이야. 그걸 마시면서 계속 왔어.
I mean, that checks out, yeah, that makes sense.
그립다.
So what, were you guys just slurping it off the floor? Yes.
사고자가 나왔을 때
Does that guy have a pompadour? That looks like a pompadour. That's tons of fun.
승객 하나가 흘렸던 피를
Yeah, I bet that caused quite a few problems.
우리가 바닥을 기어가면서 마셨는데
I was speaking half facetiously, but yeah, no, they really were just slurping it off the floor.
그때 기쁨이란
그게 시작이었군.
Yeah, I imagine. Yeah, I assumed. Yeah, I kind of figured. Once they were reminded of what they were not having, that would have destroyed everything, surely. Well, these are a bunch of spooky fellas. Little Carmilla, kill the Carmillias in me. Do it. Do it, you imp. Oh, wow, yeah. Oh, it's an issue. Oh, wow, problems have occurred. They fucked us up. That was way harder than I thought it was going to be. I took that way too lightly. They did a lot of damage. Holy shit. That might be a problem. Because we've got another Abno fight coming up really soon. Ah, fuck it. And another fight right now. Alright, I'll have to take it a little bit more seriously. Hey.
부탁드립니다. 니놈들은 어디 구역에 속해 있는 혈기들이지?
They're like, who fucking cares? Shut up.
우리는 웃지 않은 혈기들이야. 그래서 어떤 구역에도 속해 있지 않지. 쫓겨났으니까.
How can you be exiles? Like, where did you hang out in La Mancha land? Because you obviously were here. Like, obviously in this, like, windmill area, sure, but the king was here, but... Well, I guess they exiled the king, so Don Quixote, you know. I guess these were all just left with him. But they were the one that, like, we are the blood fiends who did not laugh, so they were the ones who weren't doing what Don Quixote wanted them to, because he wanted this to be a place where everyone laughed and was happy. These guys didn't play along. So what the deal? Okay, they literally had a quote-unquote prison within the amusement park. Prison? No, this feels familiar somehow. Doesn't this prison remind you of the containment units of Lobotomy Corp? Convenient, no? Very convenient that we had these perfect containment cells for keeping dangerous things locked away, just nearby. Then that's how they're doing it.
처음 목격한 이래로 계속 구 엘사의 로고도 발견되고 있어.
Like right there, for instance.
그렇다면 역시 이 공간은 라만차랜드가 봉인된 이후 그 위에 로보토미 지부가 건설된 것이 아닐까 싶구려.
Interesting, but why? Then where'd the branch go?
라만차랜드가 열릴 때 아래로 떨어졌거나 아니라면 대호수의 고래처럼 지부를 집어삼킨 게 아닐까 싶긴 하오만.
I'm gonna assume they just kind of overran it.
어디까지나 추측일 뿐이요. 그 이상을 알아내긴 정보가 없으니.
We need more details. This has been the problem with the whole Kanto, is we don't have enough details.
조금 전에 말을 아낀 것치곤 영양가가 없을지도 모르겠구려.
I don't know, you sang, at least you're trying to figure things out. I don't feel like most people here are trying to figure shit out. We're kind of just wandering around until people tell us stuff. Maybe Faust should tell us some stuff. Faust nodded affirmatively to Yi Sang's suggestion. Then...
상천님, 마침내 돌아오셨군요. 저희를 구해주려고.
What do you expect her to do exactly?
기억 안 나십니까?
How the fuck would she? You've got flowers growing out of your face.
같이 혈기 전쟁에도 참전해서 다른 가문의 혈기 놈들을 저희가 전부 죽였잖아요.
Ah, comrades in arms.
그래, 알아보겠어.
To be fair, I would have said that even if I didn't.
당신이 어버이와 사라지고 나서 우리는 언제나 그랬듯이 퍼레이드를 열었죠. 평소처럼 즐거워하는 인간들이 아주 많은 행복한 퍼레이드를.
Yeah, and how did that turn out? I think it's appropriate that most of Sancho's facial expressions look like she's about to fucking cry, which, in her position, you would. Like, you know, very understandable.
어버이는 범인을 찾고 싶어 했지만 그럴 수가 없었죠. 우리 모두가 너나 할 것 없이 동참했으니까.
Everyone was a perpetrator.
한번 피냄새가 나기 시작하니까 모든 건 걷잡을 수 없어지고.
Look, it's very simple, you see. You just get all the criminals, everyone who's ever committed any kind of crime ever, and you hook them up to IVs and you take their blood and give it to the blood fiends instead. Now you may be thinking, Foreman, that's highly morally dubious, and you're correct. But so's everything in this game, so fuck it, why not? Maybe you throw your political opponents into the blood fiend blood machine, why not? It's an easy way to get rid of them. There's no good solution to this, none. Absolutely none.
퍼레이드는 계속되어 라만찰랜드는 문을 닫지 않았답니다.
See, that's where you went wrong, right? You gotta give your employees days off, holidays, you know, they can't be running the park all the time, that's crazy.
그때 그런 생각이 들었어요, 산초님.
Yes?
언젠가 이로 인해 앞으로 기나긴 세월간 벌을 받아야 할지라도
It would be 100% worth it.
더할 나위 없이 행복하다고요. 피를 마시는 순간 우리는 삶을 느꼈어요.
Yeah, there's no way around it.
왜 저희를 두고 가신 건가요?
Well, I feel, well, you know, because you were like, hey, I don't care about your rules and I'll happily get locked away for 1,000,000 years as long as I get a little bit of blood. Hey, why have you forsaken us? And I'm like, I don't know, what a question. You know, it'd be really nice if Sancho would help us clear some of these out. Why are you already staggered? I don't think combat works that way. Shows what I know. Yeah, they're tough. Merceau is looking particularly peaky, as is Rhodia. But if we can just clutch through this... Is it going to be an abnormality again, or are we actually fighting bosses this time? Well, I say actually fighting bosses. The abnormalities were bosses, but, you know, more narrative-focused bosses. Which isn't to say that the abnormalities are entirely devoid from the narrative, but you know what I mean. Blood fiends, basically. Well, let's do the best we can. What else we got? As we were in pursuit of Don Quixote, defeating any blood fiend that got in our way, and being bled like nothing else. Oh, that's cool. Oh! Oh! Oh, you love to see it. Oh, things went very badly for him. Oh, that's funny. The sad thing is that the Svyfix have probably suffered a similar fate. A blade flashed from a dark corner, aiming straight for Don Quixote. Sancho couldn't give less of a fuck about this, frankly. But with a flick of her fingers, she blasted the figure away, flinging the attacker to the ground. Yeah, this is a very different fight now, matey boy.
뭐야? 돈키호테는 공격 안 하는 거 아니었어?
Do you not see the roses on his face?
익숙한 얼굴이구려.
Evidently, their mission didn't go very well. You seeing this, chat? Does the roses fuck with my face, chat? Send warm thoughts and good vibes and well wishes to my Patreon account. Make donations so I can afford to have the roses cut off my face.
뭐야? 저 녀석이 왜 여기 있냐?
Being fucking useless. What else?
그러게요. 저 사람들은 따로 의뢰 목표가 있어서 구역에 들어오지도 않았잖아요.
It's gonna turn out that they were assigned to, like, rescue Don Quixote or something. Don't know by whom, don't know why, but that will probably turn out to be the thing.
황금가지에 의해 라만차랜드의 고조가 변하면서 휩쓸린 것으로 추정된다.
That's probably a lot more likely, Merceau. Thank you for pointing that out. I hadn't thought of that.
휩쓸렸다고.
Well, these places do just fucking move around when the Golden Bough gets going.
뭐랄까, 재수 없는 사람이라는 생각은 했었는데 이렇게 보니까 불쌍하기도 하고.
But seeing him like this is very funny. Dante, do you see how stupid he looks? It's very funny. Yeah, I know what you're about to ask. Yes, we can kill him, don't worry. That's... Camille's been corroded. Maybe he resorted to using ego gears or ego gifts from the Lobotomy Corporation branch.
동행하던 폴라라는 인물도 확인이 됩니다.
Oh yes, Paula, his companion. I rate her higher than being his companion, but you know what I mean. Yeah, it's gonna be a 2 on 11.
침식이라면 저희 집 지하실에서.
Yup.
K사에서도 비슷한 일이 있었어. 받아들일 수 없을 정도의 힘을 가지고 있는 애고와 도마한 것인가?
Yeah, it appears to be that Rose Hunter guy. Powerful abnormality, which is funny because he was a fairly weak boss fight. Cool boss fight, but not difficult. So it's interesting to see how much power he actually seems to hold outside of that. You know, outside of combat. His ability to influence the area around him. Yeah, I really like the Rose Hunter. Super fucking cool.
계속되는 혈기와의 전투를 치르기 위해 활용했을 수도 있겠군요.
I mean, considering there was only 2 of them, yeah, I don't blame them for perhaps using ego.
전투를 위해 자신을 희생한 건가?
Considering there's 11 of us and we consistently spam ego, it makes a lot of sense, don't you think?
그저 먹혀버린 것일 수도 있지만 영예로운 싸움일 수도 있었다는 데는 동의한다.
I hear what you're saying, and you're all absolutely correct, but I don't care because it's Camille. A valiant struggle. Valiant. That's a word Don Quixote loved to use so much. I looked toward her with some vague hope. But she nonchalantly dusted off her clothes and walked away in complete disinterest. Come on, let's help them find peace. Fuck that, just leave them. Oh boy, we in there now. I love how they don't even have names anymore. Why are you staggered? Whatever, it doesn't matter. All right, what do we got? Inflict bind. You gain base power for your defense level ups. I see. We continue with the fluid sac spam because we need healing. We'll see. It's a bit awkward because Heathcliff staggered on the first turn, but it'll have to be fine. Big hits. I'll hit both of them, which is very nice. Do-do, do-do, do-do. Good stuff. Get him, Ryoshu. Whap. Bam. Lowering his SP does help us quite a lot. Get fucked. That was fucking painful. I know it showed me the damage numbers, but I still underestimated how much that was gonna do. Take that. Wait, you're still... Why are you still staggered? Is there some kind of stagger effect I'm not taking into account? I don't think so. So why is he staggered? Whatever, it has to be fine. Alright, I've got an idea. Target that. Target that, good. Now you... target that instead, and we're good to go. Okay, wonderful. See what you can do. Yeah, I thought it might happen that way. It's not so bad. The problem is that they heal, of course, which is not great, but they don't. Neither of them have a lot of health, so if we can just land some good hits, they'll die. I know that's very basic, you know, people die when they are killed, but it really does apply to this combat situation, doesn't it? He's gonna stagger soon, maybe after the snag harpoon, which makes the bind effect useless, but shush, it doesn't matter. We have to use way too many ego resources here, and I don't like it, so we're gonna have to start earning those back. Off he goes. Devouring cube, yay! There we go. I was really expecting the game to be like, cool, now here's round 2, it's an abnormality, and I'm like, oh, fuck. Not too bad. Considering the minor encounters prior were actually really kind of tough, it makes sense that they rounded it off with a fairly easy fight, because we were kind of flagging by then, like, health was pretty fucking low, and we'd used a lot of ego resources to get here. Camilla is quite useful. Could have used that like 5 minutes ago. 200 years after the departure. All right. There's some answers, okay? Turns out this happened over an extended period of time. Good to know.
라만 차렌들을 만들며 수많은 규칙은 걸리적거리기만 할 뿐 자유롭게 즐기라고 한 어버이셨지만
I see what he was going for, but that was probably a mistake. Just putting it out there.
단 하나만큼은 용서치 않았다.
Which is drinking blood, yes?
결코 인간은 해치지 말라고 했지.
Oh, it's even more simple than that. Just don't hurt the humans. Like, if some blood falls on the floor, that's fine, but don't hurt the humans. Okay.
우리가 배가 고픈 것은 혈액발을 먹으면 해결할 수 있다.
Quote unquote.
우리는 인간과 공존할 수 있다.
For a while.
그러니 버텨라. 우리는 고난을 헤쳐나가야 한다.
That's the interesting thing, right? You know, this period of hardship, which implies that there was some plan to resolve the situation and that the hemobars were temporary, but I don't see what could have been done. And indeed, Don Quixote himself never really expressed any kind of hint of a plan beyond eat hemobars, don't hurt the humans. Sorry if I'm moving around a lot, my chair is fucked, and every time I sit back in it, the entire thing, bearing in mind it's on wheels, leans back. Like the front wheels just come off the ground every single time. And I don't like sitting like that. It's kind of stressful. Because I'm not trying to lean back, it's just leaning back of its own accord. I need a new chair. I've been saying this for months, but it's true. If you want to give me fucking 200 quid on Patreon, then I could go buy one of those stupid chairs that are really expensive. But I don't expect anyone to do that, because I fucking wouldn't.
포기해서는 안 된다.
Yeah, about that whole not giving up thing.
이제 이 일로 조직들이 이 마을을 침입할 일은 없을 걸세. 이 몸이 말하지 않았는가? 우리는 어떤 일도 능히 해결할 수 있다고.
Imagine if you're living in some bitch-ass village and two blood fiends show up and body the local bandits. It's like having vampires show up to your village and solve your problems. And you're like, cool, I guess.
정말이네요. 감사합니다, 돈키호테와 산초님.
Yep, it is as I said.
저 그럼 보수는 어떻게 드려야 할지. 저희가 돈이 없어서요.
Is this when Sancho was like, yo, we could do your shoes. Nice sneakers, idiot.
네가 신고 있는 그 운동화라도 값이 꽤 나가 보이는데.
Give me your shoes, loser. I only got into the hero game for cold hard currency.
무슨 소리? 해결사는 돈을 받고 의를 행하지 않는다네.
But this is literally almost word for word, if not word for word, what Don Quixote said, you know, it's the Sancho version, during Sanson's recollections of those adventures. It is literally the same. Like, Sancho is providing Rocinante's lines, which is to say they were actually Sancho's lines, but why was it presented that way?
그래도 뭐 정 도와주고 싶다면 이 전단지를 좀 봐주겠나? 꼭 놀러 오라고 주위에 입소문을 내주게.
Yeah, come be eaten by our blood fiends. I mean, enjoy the rides.
자세한 설명은 내 충실한 시종 산초가 해줄 걸세.
My most loyal squire who attempted to take your running shoes as payment will provide you with a better explanation. She's like, I don't wanna. Sancho, give him the spiel. The pitch. The pitch, Sancho, the pitch. Come on, we're running a business here.
그렇다고 입을 닫아버리면 안 되는 거란다, 산초.
Come on, hit him with the lines, the business pitch, the spiel. I've been training you for 200 years for this purpose. You're our salesperson.
여기서 너는 내 충성스러운 조수 같은 위치란 말이다.
But this begs the question, what the fuck is Rocinante and how did it become a thing? Because obviously the tales that Sanson presented said that Rocinante was here, and maybe Don Quixote, the king, is wearing them right now. But I don't know, I don't think he is. What is Rocinante?
전 그런 말투 못 씁니다.
She's like, I object because this is fucking stupid.
유치하잖아요.
I mean, it's appropriate for blood fiends. They've got that whole aristocratic thing going.
인생은 원래 유치해야 재밌는 법이야.
That's damn true.
그리고 이렇게 말을 해야 사람들이 우리를 의로운 해결사라고 믿어줄 것 아니냐.
First step to being an extremely well-known fixer is to act like a cartoon character, basically.
대체 말투와 해결사가 무슨 상관인지 아직도 모르겠습니다.
It's called having fun. It's like when you play Helldivers with your friends and you all start talking about democracy. We're not actually talking about democracy, we're talking about Super Earth. Because it's fun to pretend to be a Helldiver.
자자, 다시 해보는 거다. 알았지?
Alright, from the top.
알겠는가? 내 충실한 시종 산초.
You can do it, Sancho.
알겠는가?
Hark!
알겠네.
Verily.
무슨 일이 있어도 포기하지 마시게.
Yeah, starting to sound about right. We're getting there, we're getting there.
멈추지 않고 계속 달려나가면 언젠가 도착할 걸세.
Not bad, not bad. You know, needs some work, but it's our first attempt. We're getting there.
꿈과 희망으로 가득 찬 라만찰렌드로.
Okay, she's really trying. I would expect her to be taking the piss right now, but she's actually really trying.
하지만 영광스러운 제1권소가 보이 돈키호테시여.
Yeah, confirmation, first kindred, Don Quixote. I just got it stuck in my head for so long that the king in the tale was the original blood fiend, and that was incorrect. No. This is just like I said before, I said this in the last recording, that this is just his clan. They all use blood weapons. But I think it's cool that the story is presented in such a way that that mistake can be made. It's left open-ended until certain clarifying points are provided to then narrow your focus on, like, okay, you can throw away a bunch of these assumptions now. This is where we're going. But for a long time, it's like, oh, it could be that. You don't know. Could be anything. And that makes it enjoyable to, like, I know I'm basically explaining, like, most narratives at this point. I just like how they do it here.
죄송해요. 우리는 당신의 이야기에 나오는 기사들이 될 수 없었어요.
Hello, Miss Barber. Are we gonna have another boss fight? Because you're the only one I struggled with. And I feel like you're gonna be stronger this time.
이발사 니콜리나.
Nicolina.
어버이는 우리를 보고 계셨지만 눈은 언제나 저 머나먼 뒤편을 향해 계셨지.
So, of course, I talked in the last recording, which is the same video, so, you know, to try and avoid any confusion there. But I talked about how a lot of the themes in regards to Sancho herself and her relationship with Don Quixote was that, you know, I want you to be an adventurer, and she's like, I don't fucking want to be an adventurer, and how that relates to parents imposing their own personal ambitions and goals and dreams that they may or may not have accomplished onto their progeny in attempts to carry it on. We also have a theme of the rest of Don Quixote's children who are like, we're doing exactly what you want, aren't we great? And he's like, yeah, whatever. Like, he's not that dismissive as such. It's not like he's not cruel or anything, but his attention is clearly centered on Sancho, like, the whole time. Sancho is clearly his favorite. And because he is, I'd say by his, you know, by his nature, by his personality, by the core of who he is as a person, he's quite tactless. He definitely doesn't see the bigger picture, though he tells other people to see the bigger picture, but he definitely does not see the bigger picture. And he definitely has tunnel vision and is not particularly perceptive of the people around him. He probably didn't even notice that his clearly, though it wasn't clear to him, clearly favoritive behavior towards Sancho would have an effect on the rest of his children, of his kindred. Which I can almost guarantee is why Dulcinea fucking hates Sancho. Because she has quite an ego, because she's the beautiful one. And despite all of that, Sancho was still the center of Don Quixote's attention, which he probably did not appreciate. And even here, like, Don Quixote doted on Sancho quite a bit, but as for the rest of them, he wasn't really looking at them, he was looking beyond to where they could go, where they could all go. He cared about them, but he was quite neglectful in his own way.
그래서 그렇게 가고 싶어 하시던 모험을 떠나라고 했어.
And them, ever attempting to please, were like, yeah, go do the thing you want to do. We'll look after things for you. Don't you worry, Pops, we'll do a great job. And I'm sure they meant it. They probably meant it.
나는 그분을 누구보다 사랑해야 했던 존재였어.
That's a scary look.
나도 알아. 나도 사랑했어. 있는 힘껏 존경하고 받들고 사랑했다고.
Yep, this is all playing into what I said.
너만 그런 줄 알아? 우리 모두가 그분의 고귀한 자식이야.
Because he treated her like his only child, which was awkward for everyone else.
너희의 그 행동은 폐륜이야.
Yeah.
모험을 마치고 라만차랜드로 돌아온 우리가 맡은 건 사륙의 냄새였어.
I dare say it was only Don Quixote's influence that prevented the Blood Fiends here from not quite going feral, but basically going rogue and being like, oh, fuck this, let's drink.
그래, 그분은 분노에 가득 차서 우리들을 모조리 벌하기 위해 축제가 한창인 라만차랜드로 오셨지.
I think I'd quite like to see Don Quixote actually, you know, the king, actually really fucking angry. I want to see him fight. I bet it's really cool.
참 흥겨웠는데 오랜만에 느껴보는 배부름. 돌아온 아버지께선 용서하지 않으셨어. 아니, 사실 용서치 않으리란 건 알고 있었어. 그래서 그 유물이 있는 곳을 알려드린 거야.
Ah, so this was all a plan in the making. You sent him away so you could do this. Okay. So, what's the term? The descent, the subterfuge was already in play long before he left to retrieve the helmet. But even then, they still loved him. They were just like, but the blood though, we really need it.
바로 이것이다, 산초.
Look, Sancho, it's that funny helmet. Hooray!
이게 우리가 그토록 찾아 헤맸던 전설의 만브리노 투구라는 것이야. 이발사마 신부 돌시네아가 알려준 그 유물이지.
Yes, indeed.
그런데
왜 그러십니까?
But why? Hang on, let me actually just hear that line properly.
그런데
More serious.
아니다.
It's nothing until it's something, huh?
너는 왜 그런 표정이냐, 산초야? 우리 모험이 끝났다는 것이 그렇게 아쉬우냐?
I'm sure she's absolutely devastated that you're not out doing pointless bullshit anymore.
라만차랜드의 다른 가족들은 잘 지내고 있으려나요?
Wonder if we'll end up fighting the priest, the barber, and the Dulcinea at the same time. That'd be nuts.
물론이지. 그들은 누구보다 선량하고 다정다감한 자들이란다.
That's not encouraging.
얼른 돌아가자꾸나. 바리가 우리를 기다리고 있을 거다. 바리 그자는 언제나 우리보다 한 걸음 빨랐잖니?
Barry!
산초. 너도 우리와 함께 했었다면 이해했을 텐데.
Oh, I'm sure.
오랜만에 마시게 된 인간의 피는 정말 미치도록 맛있었다는 걸.
I guess the question I have is why is Sancho walking around now with no blood problems? She's absolutely fine. She's not even withered.
아니, 그건 끔찍한 광경이었어.
It wasn't great. Just like, you know, that up there.
그런데 이상하지? 언제나 그분의 충실한 종이었던 네가 제일 먼저 도망갔잖아?
Oh. Why be that, I wonder?
도망가지 않았어.
I did not flee, I tactically withdrew.
그분이 내 발을 로신한테를...
Oh, that's why. Okay.
이제 네가 나 대신 모험을 이어나가야.
So why does he now have the eye thing? Oh, that's the helmet! Okay, that's the helmet. Right, okay. Considering that all three of the main, like, Blood Fiend characters are still alive to this day, I don't think Sancho being there as well would have turned the tide, because there was clearly so many of them that Don Quixote himself couldn't even do much. So, he's probably right here.
저도 계속 싸우게 해주세요. 저도 이곳에서 같이
바리를 따라가. 그자가 너를 이끌어줄 거야.
The thing is, and this might be controversial, but I should point out that we're not done here yet, and there is definitely time for opinions to change. I'm not sure I want Sancho to go back to being Don Quixote. Don't get me wrong, I love the Don Quixote that we've come to know and love throughout the past 7 cantos, right? I love that character. Let that never be interpreted otherwise, but the genie's out of the bottle now. Can we just go back? Like, if Dante has even brought this up in their own head, can we just go back to that? I almost feel like it would be a bit of a downer if we did go back to that. Like, yeah, Heathcliff changed after his canto, but not to such a ridiculous degree as the differences between Don Quixote and Sancho. I'm not sure I would want her to just back to normal. Okay, Don Quixote's the way she always was, but maybe that would be the tragedy of the story, yes? It's an interesting thought. We'll see what happens. What is Rocinante? But they did.
그랬던 거구나. 그래서 어버이의 힘은 약해졌고 우리의 라만츠랜드에 너만 보이지 않았던 거였어?
Yeah, the running shoes, you know, just got a mind of their own, you know what I mean?
언제나 그분의 옆에 찰싹 붙어서 우리가 그분께 다가가면 재수 없는 표정으로 쳐다봤던 네가.
The irony is that Don Quixote probably could have done with more of Sancho's influence in order to keep him from making some of the many decisions he made that were crap. But, you know, such is the way things turned out.
재수 없다. 그렇게 생각한 적은 없었어.
거짓말! 내가 기껏 만든 옷도 한 번도 안 입었으면서.
Well, maybe she did like him. Did you ask her what kind of clothes she wanted? She's like, it's true, they were garbage.
왜 그런 표정이야? 추악하게 변해버린 우리가 역겹지? 그렇지?
I mean, who do you have to blame for that, truly?
이곳에 혈기들이 쓴 간.
Why are you doing that?
네가 전부 꿰매버린 건가?
당연하지!
But why?
내가 아니면 누가 이렇게 꼼꼼하고 튼튼한 바느질을 하겠어?
It doesn't seem that intricate. You're just stitching things onto people's faces.
내가 한 땀 한 땀 다 꿰매어줬어. 더 즐거울 수 있도록, 더 화려할 수 있도록.
I was about to be like, why would they stick to trying to be happy and following the themes of La Mancha Land when they already, you know, overthrew Don Quixote and locked him away? And then I realized, oh yeah, they're all fucking crazy. Okay, fair enough.
두 번 다시는 벗을 일이 없도록.
The masks would also potentially prevent them from feeding, which further begs the question as to why this was a thing after Don Quixote was overthrown, but, you know.
내가 알고 싶은 건 내가 사라진 후 라만차랜드의 200년이
Yeah, what have you guys been up to?
그래, 그분과의 모험에서 마침내 찾은 것은 전설이 아닌 저주의 힘이 깃들어 있는 유물이었어.
Cursed relic?
너희의 계획대로 말이야.
Oh, they sent him after a cursed relic so he'd be weaker, so that they could overthrow him. It wasn't just sending him away, it was also sending him away to get weaker. Okay.
어버이의 뜻을 거스른다는 것은 너무나도 두렵고 본능이 거부하는 일이기에.
And it's like baked into their fucking blood that betraying or working against or defying a higher kindred, especially of the same family, is just not what you do. So how the fuck did that come about?
그분이 자리를 비우고 어떻게든 그 금기를 억누르게 하기 위해서.
And indeed, the experience of doing that probably broke a lot of them mentally.
그렇게 해야지만 비로소 그분께 반기를 들 용기가 생기던가?
It also speaks to how subversive Don Quixote's actions were in regards to overall, like, blood fiend society and just general ideals, thoughts, and feelings, that so many of them would rise up against him despite that natural protection against such a thing. Like, he was making some controversial decisions, for sure.
너는 라만차랜드가 언제까지 지속될 수 있을 거라고 생각했어?
Approximately 25 minutes.
우리가 반기를 들었다고 그렇게 쉽게 말할 수 있는 게 아니야.
Speaking of time left, how long have we been here? Because this place is going to disappear again soon. We should probably get a move on.
너희가 그 하얀 달의 기사라는 놈과 몽상이나 하는 동안
Hey, don't be mean to Barry, she's fun.
우리는 하루하루 느리게 죽어가고 있었다고.
I will grant you, though, that this entire La Mancha Land thing was a terrible idea.
아니, 그 정도로 혈기는 죽지 않아. 그분은 그렇게 말하셨겠지.
Yeah, but they weren't dying physically, they were dying mentally, basically.
그래, 우리는 죽지 않아. 하지만 죽는 거랑 다를 바가 없었다고.
Yeah, to the point where, well, living is worse than dying, so a change has to be made, and they made a change.
인간의 피를 먹지 않으면 사는 거엔 아무런 의미가 생기지 않아.
It's possible that the reason that Don Quixote was able to overcome this, despite despite all of this, is because he gave his life meaning to outside of attaining human blood, to the point where that might be why he was so fervently looking for a passion, you know, like knitting, for example, which then went on to becoming a fixer, a hero, an adventurer, as it were. Something else to focus on. Something that's not human blood. The rest of them never quite grasped this concept, and their lives, even when they were depriving themselves of it, continued to revolve around the idea of attaining human blood. In fact, being in La Mancha Land probably made it worse, as a matter of fact, because the whole point of the place was to avoid drinking human blood. It's like having an alcoholic work at a bar. It's all around them, it's everywhere. The only difference is here you're not pouring glasses of it to serve two people, but in a place designed purely for the purpose of not doing the thing, it's going to make you just think about the thing all the time, especially when you're surrounded by sources of the thing that you want. So they were fucked from the start, really.
내일을 기대하지도 않고 어떤 것에도 기뻐하지 않게 돼. 그래도 우리는 웃어야 했어. 어버이를 사랑해야 하니까.
And at that point, it's basically a form of slavery. A form of mind control, really. Suppression, perhaps. Not active, passive, but still quite real.
200년을 그렇게 웃고 또 웃었어. 나는 나는 그냥 혈기답게 살고 싶었다고!
And it's also a good thing to mention as well is that Don Quixote just made these decisions. It's pretty fucking clear that he didn't do things like hold councils to make decisions. He occasionally listened to Sancho, and that's about it. He did not, I don't think, anyway, this is just assumptions on my part and speculation. I don't think he went around to his subjects and said, hey, do you think it would be cool if we stopped drinking human blood and became friends with the humans? I don't think he asked anyone. I don't think he got anyone's opinion. I think he made a decision. And they were bound by, basically blood bound to go along with it until they sent him off to get the helmet, which was the time in which they rebelled. But until then, it was basically he made decisions and they were like, okay, not even. They had no choice. There was no choice to make.
그만.
Hey, what we doing now, huh?
이제는 평생 이해 못해.
I mean, it is very understandable. I gotta give you guys credit. It is.
그리고 어버이께서도 이제 정신을 차리셨잖니.
Oh.
표정을 보아하니 만족스러운 모험을 하고 온 얼굴은 아닌 듯하네.
It seems like a lot of it was sitting in a lighthouse and telling stories. Or making up stories.
차라리 아까 같은 얼굴이 나을 뻔했는데.
I definitely think you'll prefer the naive look from earlier when she starts, you know, doing all that blood fiend shit that she can now do. Which will probably be quite dangerous and devastating and painful.
반짝거리는 그 눈은 여전히 미웠지만.
Not much of a negotiator, are you?
적어도 지금보다는 봐줄만 했는데.
Damn.
어버이가 정신을 차리셨다는 게 무슨 소리지?
Oh.
네가 로신한테와 함께 그토록 꿈꿔왔던 모험을 하러 떠난 동안 우리는 어버이와 함께 이곳에 갇혔어.
아하.
그분은 물론 뜻을 몰라주는 우리에게 화가 많이 나셨고.
Not a lot he can do about it with like 50 million stakes in his chest, but you know, he was still pretty peeved.
남은 차량들을 닫으셨군.
Ah.
그 후로는 어둠만이 계속되었으니.
Nothing but 200 years of sending that stupid parade walking around the center. Okay, I see.
아무리 그 유물의 힘으로 인해 금기를 억눌렀다 하더라도.
Ah, I see.
어버이의 가슴에 말뚝을 박는 저희의 고통은 아무도 모르실 겁니다.
Yeah, I imagine that had an effect on all of you.
기억나? 신부 저놈은 정말 혼자 죽으려고 했었다고.
Okay. Guess it's really hard to kill a blood fiend.
혼자서 눈물을 뚝뚝 흘리면서. 그거 진짜 웃겼는데.
Luckily, you all had each other.
우리가 받아야 마땅한 형벌이었습니다. 저희는 어버이의 뜻을 거스르는 것조차 모자라 그를 해하려 하는 죄인이었으니까요.
So yeah, this blood fiend clan is absolutely fucked now beyond repair, I suppose. All that's left is to purge it, really.
우리가 그 정도로 잘못한 거야?
Yes and no. I mean, the outcome's been pretty fucking dire, but I fully sympathize with the fact that Don Quixote basically made this decision without talking to any of you, and it wasn't even what any of you wanted, and you suffered for an ungodly amount of time as a result of that decision, and finally managed to subvert/overcome your own built-in limitations in this context and overthrow him. The downside is that overthrowing him doesn't appear to have done you any favors either. But as Blood Fiends have been saying, and will probably continue to say after this moment, they were aware that, like, look, this rebellion, even the single momentary, fleeting moment of rebellion that was to drink some blood that dripped onto the floor, could result in God knows how long of punishment and incarceration. Totally worth it. 100% would absolutely do it again. Which, A, provides a lot of insight into what it's like for them, how they feel, and where their minds are at, and B, shows how hopeless this whole thing truly is. Literally, the only person who wanted this was Don Quixote. I don't even think Sancho necessarily was personally invested in this idea. They were simply personally invested in their father. Big difference.
200년 동안 다친 라만차랜드에서 아무것도 먹지 못했어.
Yeah, not ideal.
있는 건 들짐승의 남은 시체라도 파먹기 위해 흙을 파는 혈기들.
I mean, what else are you gonna do? Cut off from all outside resources, especially the most important one.
들리는 건 죽여달라는 절규 소리들.
Honestly, the fact that any of them are still here is kind of insane. That any of these blood fiends are still alive.
절규는 곧 웃음소리로 바뀌고 곧 통곡 소리로 바뀌고.
비켜.
I guess dialogue has concluded.
그분과 마저 이야기를 해야겠어.
You have to have dialogue now. Different dialogue with different person.
로신한테를 타고 떠나버린 네가 이제 와서?
I mean, we already told you the story that she didn't want to put on Rocinante, but you are fucking loopy, so it wouldn't surprise me if you weren't listening. Are we going to have our 3 Blood Fiend boss fight now? Or soon? We're having a fight, followed by more story. Yeah, I don't think we're having our 3 Blood Fiend boss fight. I think we're just having an encounter. Shame. I'm looking forward to that fight. I'm really looking forward to that fight. But now all the followers of the 3 different Blood Fiends are going to be coming at us. As evidenced by the masks and outfits.
방해꾼 하나가 사라졌군.
Pretty tough, pretty tough. They're definitely getting strong. It's mainly the bleed. The bleed just ticks us down a lot. Which I know is what a lot of people were struggling with when they played this. For the first time was apparently a lot of the, not complaints per se, that's too strong a word, but a lot of the observations people made prior to being Counter 7 was like, God, I just keep getting bled to death. And I'm like, yeah, I feel that. A lot of bleed happening. Faust didn't enjoy that at all. 200 years after the departure. At least we got a heal coming up soon. Feels like we're reaching some kind of climax, though.
조용하지?
Barry. I'm gonna go with Marie. She's fucking cool.
하지만 마냥 평화로운 곳은 아니야. 이 순간에도 저들은 우리를 지켜보고 있거든.
It looks nice, it's actually horrible.
아마도 인간과 혈기의 전쟁만이 끝은 아닐 거야.
Oh, for sure. Without a doubt.
내게는 보여. 머지않아 외곽 너머에 있는 저 별구름들과의 전쟁도 예견되어 있다는 걸.
The nebulae beyond the outskirts. Oh boy. The city has its own Illuminate horde to deal with.
인간은 언제나 만족을 모르니까 당연한 순리처럼 찾아오지. 곧 기억을 잃을 녀석에게 별소리를 떠들어대네.
Hey, if you're gonna forget shit, then it's good to have a lot to forget. It's not. But whatever. The shoes make her eyes yellow. I'm guessing Rocinante is like some kind of extremely good relic, as it were. I say good, whatever. It seems like the thing that Rocinante does is suppress a blood fiend's desire for blood. That seems to be what it does. The combination, what created the Don Quixote we know today, seemed to be a combination of Rocinante suppressing the bloodlust, and the Waters of Oblivion erasing her memories of being Sancho. Then either Rocinante carries something from Don Quixote that then, you know, applied that like heroic fixer identity kind of situation, and also all the books and stuff that Barry left her formed that personality. That's what I'm drawing from all this. Probably got there way too slow, but there's a lot of details to consider here. Yeah, it feels like that's what Rocinante does, but it also feels like there's a little bit more to Rocinante than just being a blood-craving suppression relic or object. I don't know.
다시 한번 말할게.
Didn't we leave Rocinante back where, you know, Sanson had his little play? I don't know where the fuck those shoes are now. That's interesting.
네가 강물을 마시고 나면 아무것도 기억 못할 거야.
Not a fucking thing.
나도, 너의 어버이도, 너의 가족들도, 우리의 이 이야기도.
All gone.
알아.
She's like, yeah, I don't want none of it. It all sucks.
그 이후엔 네가 지낼 거처까지 내가 이끌어줄 거야. 멀지 않은 곳에 버려진 등대를 봐놓았어. 사람이 찾아올 일은 없을 거야.
Unless they happen to be a color fixer, but what are the odds of that, am I right?
그래. 그게 다야?
Of course, the stories that Sanson told talked about what great friends these two were, but I think the reality of the situation is that Barry was good friends with Don Quixote, not Sancho. Sancho couldn't have given less of a fuck.
앞으로 어떻게 살아갈 건데?
She won't. I'm pretty sure the intent is to just dream.
글쎄, 모든 걸 잃어버렸고 모든 걸 잊어버릴 내게 그렇게 의미가 있을까?
Literally a wing it, I'll figure it out on the night kind of situation. I can respect that. That's how I live most of my life.
그 질문은 잠든 뒤에 나에게 말하는 게 나을 거야.
You know, like, oh, I know I'm playing a gig next weekend, but I don't need to practice. I'll just make up bass lines on the spot. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. I should point out I've never done that. I always practice before gigs. I don't trust myself. I'm nowhere near a good enough bassist to just wing it.
내가 강물을 마시고 나면
Once I drink the river's water, I'm gonna read books. Lots and lots of books.
넌 떠나라. 고마웠어, 가리.
Actually, a smile. Goddamn.
하지만 강물은 혈기의 본능을 잠시 망각시키는 것이었을 뿐 영원히 없애는 것은 아니었지.
Aha.
애초에 천성을 영원히 없앨 방법은 존재하지 않았으니.
So the river got rid of it, quote unquote. It didn't actually get rid of it, but you know what I mean.
어버이의 로시난트를 통해 혈기로서 가지는 모든 특징을 가릴 수 있었지만
Okay, so Rocinante did play a part in this, right?
터무니없는 꿈을 꾸고 있었던 것뿐.
It was literally an ignorance is bliss situation.
이제 깨어났어, 멤버.
No more Rocinante for now.
이렇게 해서 나만 차례 빼는
Oh.
다시 문을 열었단다.
And we're back in La Mancha Land. This place needs to fucking go.
이곳에서 무슨 일이 있었던 겁니까?
In excruciating detail, tell us all of it.
뻔한 이야기지 않겠니?
Beauty and the Beast.
저들은 나를 용서하지 않고 나 또한 저들을 용서하지 못했지.
Everyone was very angry with each other all the time, despite not wanting to be.
문을 열어주세요. 교수님, 부탁해요. 저희를 그곳에 펴주세요. 용서해줘.
I mean, you reap what you sow. You know, you lot did say, like, oh, whatever punishment will be worth it if we can just have a bit of blood. Doesn't seem like the case now, does it?
너희는 아직도 나와 뜻을 함께하지 못했구나.
I like these kind of stories because it's the kind of story where there's no like, oh, this person was the good person and this person was the bad person. It's the kind of stories where it's like everyone sucks in their own way. Good intentions, sure, in some cases, but poorly executed or not well thought through or done with no consideration for how it will affect people, and you get a story where everyone sucks, which creates for a more interesting moral dilemma.
라만차렌들을 다시 열어서는 안 된다는 걸 아직도 모르는 거니.
He's like, don't you understand? If word gets out that I made a failed Blood Fiend Sanctuary, they'll never accept my application into the Fixer Office registry. And then I'll never be a Fixer. You will need to stay here, hush hush.
그렇다면 어쩔 수 없어요.
It was pure desperation that led them to do what they
나는 행복해지고 싶어. 이제 네 차례야, 신부.
Everyone gets to do a stake. Everyone line up. Make sure you bring a stake with you. If you didn't bring a stake with you, we have a station nearby providing stakes. Line up. Like, hey, no shoving. Hey, no shoving. You get in line. One at a time.
어버이시여, 저희를 결코 용서치 마시고 부디
어서
Hurry up, we've got like 500 blood fiends to get through. We're gonna be here all day. We got a lot of people to get through.
용서해주세요.
Yeah, he won't.
아니야, 살려주세요. 그게 아니라면 우리가 고통스러운 만큼 당신 또한.
I mean, I can't say it's not deserved. They are giving him an inkling of what they've been going through. Was it a good decision? Was it a smart thing to do? No, but logic long since left the building. Logic is just not a part of this anymore. No one here is thinking logically anymore. You cannot criticize anyone here now. In fact, you could not criticize anyone here for an extended period of time for a lack of logic, because that's just gone, and it's been gone for ages. It's been gone for fucking ages. No logic. It's all desperation, instincts, knee-jerk reactions, suffering, just... And the thing is, consider how powerful that loss of reason is, that they couldn't instantly betray Don Quixote. They had to muster up the courage to do so. They had to overcome their bloodbound nature in order to do so. Despite having all that time to potentially back out of the plan, they went for it anyway because of how fucking desperate they were. That in of itself provides enough context, I think, to understand the situation to at least some degree. Bearing in mind, none of us will ever experience anything quite that ridiculous, but at least the ability to empathize and understand. And it fucking sucks for everyone. So we've got a boss fight of some kind, then another healing station. Oh boy, what's this gonna be? The Fate of the Afflicted. Oh, this is the three big ones, isn't it? This is gonna be a tough fight. To the point where, give me a moment, I'm gonna take a brief intermission to do a luxcavation to get just a teeny bit more experience to hopefully make this less difficult. So I'll be back in a moment.
공격에 잘했군. 한 놈도 남지 않을 때까지 지금을 반복한다. 쉴 새는 없다.
Cool, that's all we're getting. Okay, so our main team are now all level 50. That is as good as it's gonna be. Otis can fight relatively well at level 40, and I mean, Honglu can too, I suppose. I really hope Gregor doesn't get forced to the front line, but if he does, hey, he can help. And if the other two, if either of the other two, if either Sinclair or Yisang have made it to the front line, we've probably already lost. Let's be real, that's probably already happened. But we'll see. I don't think this is the last fight, but I do think this will be a tough one. All right, Blood Fiends, let's see what you got. Let's see what you got. We still don't have Don Quixote. God fucking damn it. I hope Sancho at least helps us in this fight.
최선을 다해 지켜낼게요.
Even though she doesn't care. So yeah, how do you feel about all this, Sancho?
그렇게 200년 동안 계속
That's a long time. That's more than a couple minutes.
어버이를
She's rather upset.
이들을 탓하지 말거라, 산초.
But you know she's gonna body all of them, right? Or get us to do it, perhaps?
내가 지나치게 방대한 꿈을 꾸었던 탓이지.
See, even now, he doesn't get it. It sounds like he gets it, but he doesn't. He does not get what he did wrong. What he did wrong was not dreaming an impossible dream. He may be saying that sincerely, even though that comes across as, frankly, passive-aggressive. But I think he genuinely believes that that was his fault. That wasn't his fault. That wasn't his failing. His failing was to make this decision that affected all of his subjects without actually asking them what they wanted, without properly conveying to them what that would mean as well. Now, granted, as a leader, you gotta be a little bit savvy, you know, you can't just be going around saying, hey, you're all gonna basically feel like you're suffering from the worst withdrawal you could ever imagine all the fucking time. Wouldn't go down too well. Can't imagine it would. But his biggest failing is to have made this decision on their part without considering how it would affect them. Or either truly appreciating how it would affect them, or caring about that, basically. He was a juvenile, immature guy. He's still alive, but, you know, the person he was back then. He was a juvenile, immature guy who made decisions on the fly and wore his emotions on his sleeve. Those aren't terrible traits. They are terrible traits in a leader, though. They are not ideal traits in a leader, and his subjects have suffered for it, and now his subjects have made him suffer for it. Don't get me wrong, I really like Don Quixote as a character. The king, I love him. I think he's fantastic. I'd love to hang out with him all the time. Absolutely great. But he was a bad leader. He was a very bad leader. He was a poor leader, given to flights of fancy and hyperfixations over actually considering the responsibilities that his position afforded him, which is a shame.
혈기 본능조차 잠시 잊어버린 너는 상상도 할 수 없을 거야.
And they have a point here as well, to be honest.
200년 동안 단 한 모금도 마시지 못하고
Hence why they are all quite withered, yeah.
어버이를 수천 번 찔러야만 했던 우리를.
You say have to, though. Did you have to stab him with thousands of stakes? Was that necessary? Once again, logic is out the window here, as I just said. But, you know, some of that is a little like, okay, but you chose to do that. No one made you.
하지만 무수한 기도에 대한 응답이
Oh.
정말로 오고야 말았습니다.
An answer, you say?
하늘에서 따스한 빛이 보이기 시작했죠.
The golden bow.
우리는 평생 보지 못했을 빛. 인간이었던 시절 마지막으로 기억하고 있던 햇빛보다 더 밝고 따뜻한.
I have absolutely zero criticism to levy against Dulcinea's voice acting at all, but it is extremely frustrating how slowly she talks. Because I'll have edited it out each time so you guys wouldn't have heard it. I always respond before she's finished talking. Because she'll leave like a solid 2 to 3 second gap between words, and I'm like, and then she's like, ba 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 ba, and I'm like, get your point out much quicker, please. It's not a criticism against the voice acting at all. The voice acting is fantastic. It's just frustrating from a performance aspect, and that alone, nothing else. But it is pretty funny, which is why I wanted to share it with you guys. Every time she's like, ba ba, and I'm like, so I feel, and she's like, ba 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 ba, and I'm like, for fuck's sake, stop it.
산손.
Where is Sanson, by the way?
어떤 가문 소속의 혈기지?
It's clearly not ours.
몰라. 가문, 장로, 그딴 건 200년 동안 다 잊어버렸어.
It's almost as if all of this was orchestrated from the outside. Go figure.
확실한 건 그자가 우리를 이 구렁텅이에서 꺼내줬다는 거지.
You're still in the torturous hell. It's still as shit as it's ever been. Maybe not as shit as it's ever been, but it's still pretty shit.
그때부터 라만차랜드가 다시 열리기 시작한 거야.
I guess it's good that we're jumping on La Mancha land now, because if it had been left like a couple months or so, they might have gathered enough blood that most of them weren't withered anymore. And then, oh boy. Oh boy. Does it though? Does it actually?
몰골이 영 말이 아니지 않습니까?
You all look awful. And this does explain away what I was saying before, where I was like, Sanson doesn't seem withered. Why doesn't Sanson seem withered? Because he's not from this family and he's not from La Mancha land. He wandered over here for a purpose. He's been getting blood regularly for God knows how long.
따뜻해.
서둘러 정신 차려야죠. 손님들을 맞이할 준비를 해야 하지 않겠습니까?
We must prepare for the grand reopening. We need snacks. So many snacks. Guests love snacks.
손님?
네, 당신들에게 신선한 피를 기꺼이 제공해줄 손님들이요.
And Don Quixote's just stuck on the wall like, fuck you!
그러니 얼른 옷을 갈아입고 단장을 하는 겁니다. 예전보다 더욱 시끄럽고 화려하게. 한번 발길을 한 손님들은 결코 집에 돌아갈 수 없도록.
It does truly beg the question of what Sanson's angle is here. We still don't know, or at least I don't think we know.
몰락한 라만차 혈기들의 제1 권속 어버이 돈 키호테.
Manchagan. That's cool.
다른 장로들이 당신의 모습을 보면 얼마나 통탄해할런지.
I somehow doubt that's his primary concern right now.
따뜻하구나. 이건 어떤 빛인 것이니?
황금 가지라고 불리는 것입니다.
They're wondrous little things. They do all kinds of crap.
곧 당신의 마음 가장 깊은 곳을 꿰뚫고.
And Don Quixote's like, oh, figuratively, right? And Sansa's like, no. No. Very literally.
그 욕망과 무의식을 먹고 자라나게 될.
That's mean. Oh dear. That's not great.
그리고 언젠가 돌아올 당신의 마지막 자식이 다시 뽑아내겠지요.
So Sansa knows that we're coming for it as well. He knows a lot. That's quite concerning. Was he a Malkavian or a Tremere?
나는 여기에 영원히 묶여 있을 존재가 되었다. 산초.
So as part of our adventures in La Mancha Land and as Limbus Company, we are going to destroy a first kindred, not even just second kindred that we have been dealing with up to this point. We're literally going to finish off, probably, or kill or destroy by proxy a first kindred. That's quite a lot. That's quite a big deal.
그것이 라만차랜드와 가족의 안녕을 위한 일이고 어버이로서의 책임이니까.
당신은 언젠가부터 인간을 해하기를 죽기보다 싫어하셨죠.
Yeah, a lot's happened since then.
우리는 본능을 거스를 수 없는 존재란다. 산초.
Seems to be the case.
내가 준 루시넌템을 타고 세상 밖으로 나왔지만 결국 다시 혈기로 돌아와 버린 너처럼 말이지. 아마 많은 인간들이 우리를 증오하고 미워할 것이다.
Not even will. They do.
하지만 내 자식들은 이곳에서 계속 더 많은 피를 먹고 행복해져야 한다.
I feel like they should have leaned into I mean, there is immediately a problem with this quote-unquote solution. I'll address it in a minute. But maybe they should have leaned into the, like, fixer, adventurer, mercenary angle, right? Where it's like, this syndicate's been attacking us, can you go deal with them? And then they just fucking gorge themselves on the syndicate, right? Now, there is a problem there immediately, which I'm sure many of you picked up on straight away. And that is that there are probably too many blood fiends for that to work, right? How long until every single syndicate, bandit, rat, what have you, any miscreant or criminal has been dealt with? And it's like, well, no one's going to be a syndicate or a whatever now because they know what will happen, but the blood fiends are still alive and still need blood, so what happens then? Right, it's a short-term solution, not a long-term solution. La Mancha Land was supposed to be a long-term solution, and yeah, about that.
웃음만이 가득한 라만차랜드에서.
Because it's easy, I know I've said this before, but it's easy to look at this like it was so obvious that La Mancha Land would fail, but he didn't. We only know that La Mancha Land failed, and that it was obviously it would fail, because we came here after it failed. What if we'd been here beforehand? What if this wasn't a story, as it were? What if this wasn't a narrative with events that needed to head in a certain direction? Someone might look upon this and be like, that's a good idea. That could work. He did think of a lot of things. But it was fated to fail.
그러니 산초야, 병자의 운명을 타고난 우리와 함께 이곳에 있어 주겠니?
What is Sancho's plan by this point? She wants to talk to Don Quixote, obviously. But then what?
당신은 지금의 처참한 상태로 만족해야 하시는 겁니까?
It's not particularly dignified, is it?
보이지 않니? 이제 내 신체는 내 것만이 아니다. 불행 속에서 구원과 보호를 기다리는 나의 자식들을 위해 쓰여야 하지.
The only thing this place needs is an abundance of oil and fire. I'm pretty sure. This place is done. It's time to clean up. Put up the chairs, switch off the lights, lock the doors. We're done.
어버이시여, 저자가 데리고 온 방문객들은 우리 라만체랜드를 망가뜨리고 파괴하기 위한 자들입니다.
Well, we're actually here for the Golden Bough, but sure.
저들을 죽인 후에 그 피를 당신께 먹여드리겠습니다.
Well, that's a point, maybe. Have they actually been giving, like, all the blood bags and stuff in La Mancha Land, have they been giving the lion's share of that to Don Quixote so that he can maintain La Mancha Land in the way that they're doing it? Don't get me wrong, it would still take a lot of blood for these guys to stop being withered, but that might have been a factor where it's like, well, maybe some of these wouldn't have been withered by now if they've been getting more blood, but they've been giving a lot of it to Don Quixote. But then again, Don Quixote, I'm pretty sure, is still withered as well. So it's probably just a case of like, look, it was 200 years without blood. A lot of blood is needed. People were pointing this out in the comments, like, look, if you've been starving for 4 days and you eat one meal, you're not suddenly fine again. It's a process to recover when your body has been deprived of something it needs for so long. And it seems to be the case here, definitely.
알겠습니까? 살려달라고 발버둥 치는 인간들보다 우리를 죽이기 위해 달려드는 인간들의 피가 훨씬 뜨겁다는 걸.
Makes sense.
나의 자식들아.
He's like, that does taste pretty, that does sound pretty good. I love it when Uber Eats delivers directly to my house.
너희의 말이 맞구나. 저들을 물리치고 라만차랜드를 꿈의 축제로 이끌 거라.
Marvelous, truly, this will solve many things. This fight might be difficult.
얼마만이니? 이렇게 다 함께 모인 게?
Music's pretty decent. Alright, this is gonna be one fucker of a fight. We're gonna need fluid sac straight away to get SP. But the corrosion risk. It always comes with risk. I love risk. I should check their passives. You've got your blood tinged scissor blade stuff, a lot of your counters that apply bleed and stuff. Yep, quite dangerous. Still withered, which is lucky. Sewing targets. I don't need ugly things. So the blood tinged scissor blades are quite dangerous, but it does lower her defense value, so there is that. She's got a festive fever stuff, I remember that. And what about you, Mr. Priest? You've all got about that. Well, actually, the barber has the least health, but they all have quite a bit of health. Prioritizes targets with bleed if they fail to deal any damage. Too fragile to offense level up. Activate bleed on self, max 50. Consume 1 bleed count on self. Heal 50 HP to corp and part of an allied blood fiend with least HP. So he's a healer. He's a problem. Lose 5 SP and heal 10 SP for any allied blood fiend with the least SP. He is a support character. Okay. Ailing heart. Because he's probably the least willing to be doing this shit. He does rupture. He also does a lot of bleed, naturally, and it seems like we need to focus on him. She's doing her buffs. Okay, so we can ignore that. Nice and easy. Crippling injury. They've all got crippling injuries. Okay. This battle will probably require a lot of fluid sacs, just putting it out there. I'm going to play on a bit of a gamble here that these guys will gain SP and that'll be enough to tide them over. But if we had Ishmael quickly shove him and apply paralysis, then Rhodia's attack will be more likely to go through. And Execution Sentencing is probably going to get through. He'll have higher SP when his turn rolls around anyway. Should work out. Good start. That's a pathetic tremor burst, but mainly the goal was just to win the clash. Ryoshu's going to be doing a bit shit for a while because she's having to spend SP immediately. She'll be at 0 by the time Faust does her thing, or maybe just above it. Yeah, actually she'll be doing alright. God, that almost went badly. Okay. It's fine. We'll get the SP heal, which we need. That does what it needs to. We got to ignore that shit. There we go, that's what we needed. We gotta beat his ass. Quick. Okay, he's taking damage. We're off to a good start. She's still doing Move of Beauty, Walk of Grace, which is fine. They are quite fast, which concerns me. Neutral. Struggling. Who is that targeting? Heathcliff. Can he do something with that, perhaps? Yes, he can. Maybe. We'll see. Sewing target. Okay, we don't want Faust to deal with her then, because she'll gain power, won't she? Clash power +5. Yeah, nah. nah. Annoyingly, we might have to spam Fluid Sack a bit just to get SB up. There is definitely going to be some ego spam. I think it's necessary. I don't think this is the final boss, mostly because there isn't a melee track playing, but, you know, can't rely on that to be the reason. These guys are gaining SP, which is frightening. He's not, which is good. Did you think about blood today? So he can heal the others, but he can't heal himself. And that's why we need to focus on him. The immediate assumption would be to focus on the barber because she has lower max health than everyone else, but the reality is the healer has to go. And it's going to be a long fight as well. I'll cut you together is rather unfortunate, but, oh well. Oh well. He's already taken quite a bit of damage. We're leaning in on him quite well. Blind Obsession would be a good one, I reckon. Let me just check the passive on that real quick. 5 sinking to one other ally with lowest HP, apply 1 haste and 3 offense level up next turn. Yeah, but the SP heal will do a lot for us. Mainly because Faust needs hers boosted. That'll also hit them as well, so that's quite nice. Should be alright. I need to be careful about ego resource spending though. We're spending a lot. And it's scary. At least raising her Saga threshold a little bit will make things easier later. But in retrospect, Blind Obsession now feels like a waste because we don't actually need the SP. But it's too late now. I've already done it. Faust won violence and basically went up to 42, which was basically everything she needed, but that's a fair amount of damage spread around. That's a fair amount of damage spread out.